Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Warsaw for the Wargaming.net League Grand Final. Let me hear it again, come on! We are just minutes from seeing the most important game of the day and potentially the most important game since World of Tanks' inception.
It is the grand final. It's Virtus.pro versus Navi.
Exactly right. So, Carmack, why don't you help me out here? My Polish isn't great. Let us see who the crowd is behind.
All right, I'm going to have to switch to Polish. Uwaga, uwaga, rączki do przodu, bardzo proszę. I dla Virtusa. Jak dam do góry, to pierwszy rząd podskakuje, wszystkie za nim. I krzyczymy Virtus, ok? Meksykańska fala. Virtus! I uwaga, teraz dla Navi to samo. A jak kibicujecie Navi, to głośniej, uwaga. Navi!
I just got shivers. Well, I think the crowd has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. Let us, though, have a little bit of a look at what we're playing for. Of course, this lovely monolith behind us. It's actually quite an incredible work of art. Let's find out a little bit more about how it was made.
Really no need to hype this one up. It's a beautiful, beautiful trophy. It took a lot of work to make it, and it represents the hard work of the champions that they worked the whole year to get it. Let's take a look at the bracket of how these two teams got to the final.
I mean, it's been quite a run for both teams, of course. Navi actually getting knocked down to the lower bracket by Virtus.pro initially in a 3-2 match. They worked their way through quite nicely. We can see there 3-1 over the Red Russia Unity. Very, very strong performance. Virtus.pro has just been rolling their way through. The only game that probably gave them any trouble was that Na'Vi game and, of course, the Red Russia Unity earlier on in the piece. So now it is time for our final match, ladies and gentlemen. This is the big one. Let's head over to our experts to break it down.
Thank you, Uber and Carmack. This is it. For all the marbles, for all the jewels, for all the pride in the world when it comes to World of Tanks, 2 teams remain. One representing the EU cluster, the EU region, the other representing Russia. These players are hailing from Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and other parts of the region, but now only one champion will remain standing. It is my pleasure to be on the analysis desk with my fellow co-hosts. I have Mr. Mojo from Kazakh Crew, Wilkie coming out of Free Fall. I'm Joshua Clutch Gray, and to my left, I have Agus coming from TCM, and the very lovely Melly. Melly, all weekend long, we have seen thousands of tweets and interactions on Facebook. The last match, I'm sure the internet is on fire.
Yeah, we nearly broke Twitter, actually. I had a hard time loading all those tweets on my Twitter feed. And, well, people, you are amazing. And that speaks as well for our grand challenge on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU. And yeah, I actually promised to announce the winners before the grand final. But with nearly 2K submissions and participations, it's just impossible. I'm so sorry. Since everyone wants a fair chance, I have to take a look to, again, 2,000 comments. It's just amazing. And it will take its while. And I'll promise to announce the winners of this grand challenge in the next days. So
you got to make sure to follow. So stay tuned for that, folks. But of course, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, hashtag the grand finals. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about these teams. First up, Na'Vi, short for Natus, Vincere.
Born to conquer.
Born to conquer. The emperors, the kings, the ones that hold the crown right now when it comes to the best of the best teams in the world. The defeat of Natus Vincere would echo throughout the world right now if this happened, and Virtus.pro was able to do it once so far. But let's look at the team stats overall one final time before we see them perform in the game. When it comes to aggressiveness, we're going to have to change these stats after this weekend. Yeah. It is completely different now. Creativity, accuracy, fight coordination, decision-making, using the strength of maps and positions to their full benefit has been Na'Vi, and that is one of the cornerstones that allows them to be the conquerors of the world that is the World of Tanks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they performed so good, played so aggressive in the matches before. They were a bit unlucky against Virtus.pro, or maybe they are just outplayed because they played more aggressive and Virtus.pro was on the directing side, got to combine fire. And yeah, if against a really a top team, you can't push that super aggressive. And I was talking with Na'Vi, and I also think, before I talked with them, that they will change the game style slightly back to the really efficient one that you going slowly forward. I mean, they have to attack the other one round behind, but not that in the game the same style like they did it before.
That puts them in a very intriguing position based on what we've seen from Na'Vi over the last number of tournaments, over the last year and a half since the inception of the 7x42 and Esports for World of Tanks. They have been the slower gameplay mechanic type team. They have been the ones that hold back, but now they have to be on the offensive. How does this change for them, and how do they do it in a way that's successful because it was not successful against Virtus.pro?
I think they now just have to play a little slower, but they can still choose a moment when they will strike. Definitely, they are more experienced team, and being just 1 point behind is not that much for them. In the games we saw, they lost 2 games in some harsh attacks, but the games they won from either dire situations, moving really superior tactically, and that will be their strength. And I think on personal level, they're a bit higher. As player versus player, I think they are a bit higher than Virtus.
I also feel that their victory over Red Rush Unity put them in a very good mental state. And the type of mental state that Deluxe is going to have to be in as a team leader has to be sharp, focused, but also flexible according to what anything Virtus.pro is able to bring. As we take a closer look at Deluxe, you have to think of how heavy his shoulders are right now with the burden of leading this team, but he's experienced in this format. Kill-death ratio, 3.89, 23.1 thousand personal battles, damage is spread out between him and his teammates. The HP value sharing is spread out between Na'Vi. And that's one of the stats I'm going to look at after this whole weekend. How much HP did they have as a whole after all of these battles? Because it's impressive that they've been able to stay alive so much.
He's the mastermind behind Na'Vi. He's the one who decides everything, makes the tactics most likely. So he's probably the best leader in the world so far in World of Tanks.
All right. Well, their opponent has one game above them, and that's Virtus.pro. Gentlemen, this is a matchup that has some significant history. And right now, Virtus.pro has got to be a little bit smiley right now, a little bit more pep in their step based on where they are with one battle ahead in this best of 7. If we take a look at their stats, let's describe a little more the strengths of these teams, especially the aggressiveness compared to Na'Vi.
Yeah, they are a bit more aggressive team, but overall they play a bit similar style. Actually, Na'Vi surprised us all that they were the more aggressive team in the last battle these two teams fought. But yeah, it will be a hard battle for Virtus.pro to beat Na'Vi twice in the same tournament.
Yeah. I think they can do it, though. They have the advantage. We've seen anything that is possible so far at this tournament. We have seen some upsets, and we all agree that it would be an upset if Virtus.pro is able to take it. But Koritz is the one that's going to be leading Virtus.pro, and again, the burden, the anxiety resting on his shoulders to call the game is huge. But they've been in this situation before. Prize money has been on the line in previous tournaments, or reputation, and I feel that he's going to perform to the best of his ability. But what is it about Koritz that makes him such a strong part of his team?
He's a duo. He's basically the in-game brother with Warsaw. They're playing together since they're 14, 15 years old. Also, the former teams, they played together. They were the core players. After they leave, the team broke up, and then they joined now Virtus.pro. And I think that's the key. That these two players play together, help each other, and share the hit points, deal the damage. They're playing as a team, winning or losing as a team.
Some people said it was a finals before the finals with Virtus.pro versus Na'Vi, but they're playing for a lot of money. $60,000 goes to the #1 team, $40,000 to second place. I also am proud to present a very special gift provided by Hugo Boss to the #1 team. It is an amazing custom etched watch, and the box is really nice too. But as I display this for you guys, the winning team will receive watches that I will get in trouble if I take for myself. I was quite tempted to. But this will go to all 7 players that participate in the series today. So that is also at stake. A huge thank you to Wargaming for providing these as well. It's actually etched on the back, Wargaming World Champions. This is a token that I'm sure any team would want.
That's a unique present.
And I have to guard this on the desk for the entire series.
It will act like a Stanley Cup ring in sports.
Exactly. That we see a lot of those tokens of champions. And this is the first of its kind that we're going to have in World of Tanks, because this is the first tournament of its kind to interlock all these different regions that have been competing: Southeast Asia, South Korea, China, North America, Europe, and Russia. Gentlemen, I think a lot of people have actually kind of predicted this maybe have been the finals, but maybe not where these two teams stand between Virtus.pro and Na'Vi.
Exactly. I think everyone predicted these two teams in the grand final, Virtus.pro and Na'Vi, but I think everyone also predicted that Na'Vi will be the team from the winner bracket, and Virtus.pro have to go to the losers bracket, fight against Unity, Lemming Train, and Fnatic.
Yeah, this actually was the first time Virtus.pro has been able to step up from the shadow of Na'Vi. They moved from the EU cluster to the EU cluster because they used to be the second team, and now they're the first time ahead of Na'Vi. Interesting matchup to come up.
Now he was under pressure many times, and we will see will Virtus manage to sustain calm, because they have some younger players we were talking about. They can be more creative, but it leads to some risks, and now he's really seasoned team.
Now we're ready for the map veto. How this is going to work in this best of 7, since Na'Vi is below, it means Virtus.pro will have that 1 point. All 7 maps can be played in the pool, but it'll be 6 maps total because of that victory that has already happened. So the coin flip will occur. There is 1 veto that occurs for the map that will not be played. If Steps is that veto, gentlemen, which we think would be the case, we will have not seen Steps at all at this tournament. If Steps is chosen, there's a possibility we will be sharing some ice cream during the final event. But how it works, the coin flip is tossed. The winning team of the coin flip chooses home or away Home team.
Steps is out.
Steps is out. No ice cream for us, guys. All right. Well, that's it for Steps. GG. Mainz, Prokhorovka, Cliff, Ensk, Ruhenberg, and Himmelsdorf are the maps available for selection. Through the process, home team gets the veto. The away team then gets to choose. Well, there's only one veto, so they have the veto choice.
Yeah. I think one key will be also who will pick Ruhenberg's side at least. And the question is now for the teams as well. Pick Ruhenberg as first map to play because nothing special happened if you play 2 first. If it's 2-0 or 1-1 or 2-1, doesn't matter because we still got enough rounds to play. But what happened if it will be the 5th or the 6th map and you have to win, no matter what?
I think Virtus will try to give Navi opportunity to pick Ruhenberg so they can steal the side.
I think the same, yeah. And I also think that Cliff and Ensk will be the first picks, so they will play it last because Himmelsdorf, Prokhorovka and Mainz are more the favorite maps for these 2 teams.
5th map, almost chosen. Then the team that chooses the map, the opposite team, will choose the side. And there is also some more prize money at stake. 3rd place took home $20,000. 4th place was a PvP Super Friends. They get a nice chunk of change as well. And there's a $4,000 per win on each map that is added to the prize pool as well. So a lot of money is at stake. Biggest prize pool, World of Tanks.
Oh my god, again 3 Russians picking a map.
It's the community, it's the commune system here going through it. All right,
And then Ruhenberg.
So really at the end.
Yeah, in the 5th map. So Virtus.pro might want to be ahead.
And Navi picked Ruhenberg because now it's the turn of Virtus.pro. So Navi decide to play Ruhenberg. I said Virtus.pro have the choice of the side.
Yeah.
The question is, got Navi something prepared to break through their own
They will
defensive?
probably pick heaviest set.
Probably 5 KV5s, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see a KV5 used. The success rate is going to have to be tested here, but it is a possibility.
Maybe they heard us.
Maybe I was talking with Navi before.
Oh, maybe. Himmelsdorf, 4th map. Still waiting for the final 3. Navi currently in deliberation. Now the map has been chosen. That's Muppe, our head admin, has been doing a fantastic job. Well-seasoned veteran in the world of esports. Writing down sides to make sure you can convey that information to the 2 teams is Deluxe.
I think we will go for Prokhorovka now.
Yeah.
Because Navi want to pick on Ensk. So Virtus.pro have to pick Ensk or Mainz.
Mainz first pick? We say Mainz first map?
Yeah, it has been throughout the tournament.
Same
Mainz
pattern, why
has
change
been
it?
in the first map.
The point is on Prokhorovka, it's not really important which side you start, if south or north. So you can pick Prokhorovka now, then the enemy team have to pick one of the maps where it's really important to pick the side, and you can go for the side.
I've already written down Prokhorovka because I believe in what you guys are saying. Makes sense to me, I would agree, but we have to find out. Still making that decision here. Man, you got to think about the sides. The spawning of sides, the first map, Mines, it's going to be a brawl mode pretty much no matter what. That's the advantage of choosing Mines as the last map here, the first map to be played. But this 3rd map is huge right now, and that's why Navi is taking their time to decide.
I mean, it's the most important game so far in the history of World of Tanks. You don't want to risk anything, you don't want to go too fast in something you can't change anymore. So better think twice or 3 times about it before you decide.
Ensk, I feel, could be the 2nd map choice. Look at the concentration in Deluxe. He's going through so many different scenarios for these different maps, and he's thinking of the side choices here. Where has Virtus.pro been in the advantage when they had the series earlier on? How can we counter that advantage? What counters do we have available? Prokhorovka.
Lucky me again, right?
All right, that leaves Ensk and Mainz.
So this one should be Ensk.
Virtus.pro now has a decision.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if Virtus.pro want to give Navi the decision of the side on Ensk. Could be possible that they're going for Mainz. It's unusual. Normally I would say, okay, no, it's Ensk Mainz for sure. It's the usual stuff we see before. But maybe Virtus.pro want to change it to don't give the side on Ensk, because if you remember Navi playing on Ensk against Lemming Train, super aggressive, super effective.
From the south.
From the south.
2 more maps. The only 1 map choice is what matters here. It'll fill in automatically. Ensk or Mainz.
The concentration of the player and the focus already is so high.
This is very, very intriguing to see it. And Mines will be the first pick. This is a good assessment type map again because of that brawl mode. It's not going to turn into a camp fest unless it could. But this again is another opportunity for some of those cards to come out of those sleeves, gentlemen, especially with waterside play.
That's true. Yeah, maybe we see something aggressive. Navi, especially from the north, like to play over the island. If they don't go for the hill, they go over the island. Really deep with 230-90s, trying to focus out one single tank at least if possible, or just get the control over the whole left side.
Navi has choice of side. And it is confirmed, and there will be your map pool. Admin going through the list again, making sure it's all correct. The history between these two teams. This is funny to see how they interact between each other here.
They know each other from so many training sessions, from so many hours online, offline events, and they are basically friends, but now they have to forget everything.
Friends, enemies, they're enemies right now on the stage. Yeah. And the two managers, the team owners, are here as well for Navi and Virtus.pro. A lot is on the line for these players, these teams, the sponsors of these teams, the regions themselves.
Today is the day to make history.
It is. It really is. And now we're waiting for the players for their final confirmation with the admin and our tech crew to make sure all of their settings are correct at optimal performance, and then we will begin the finals. Gentlemen, let's break down Mines while we still have a little bit of time here. North versus South. Who has the advantage when you are up a game? Is it the North spawn or the South spawn?
I would say in the North spawn you got more options on Mines.
Yeah, after the recent changes to Mines, teams have been changing to pick the North side. Before that, they tended to pick the South, but now it's the North.
South is now more like a counter push side.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get heal from the first, but if you have a right setup, you can wait for enemy team to disperse a bit and then do a strong counter push like we see a few times.
The right setup is going to start with tank selection, though. And what type of tanks are you going to bring if you have the northern spawn?
You need at least 2 faster tanks to assure the heal, and everything else must be a follow-up that will come after you to support them to survive.
Yeah, and I believe these teams are going to... You look at, what do you play? Do you play the surprise, or do you play the tactics that have led to tournament victories before? Navi's going to play to the tactics of what they're comfortable with for the first game, I believe, for Mines. I don't think they're going to have any surprises here. Now, if they were up against Virtus.pro, if the tables were turned for them, I feel we would see a bit more aggression or something different from Navi for the first game. Set the pace.
I think Navi immediately want at the first game to score even tight, because they're one round behind, and if they can beat them, they beat them already on Mines. If they can get the point to make it even to a draw, it's on Mines. Because if they go to the second map, it's Ensk City map, it's most likely the option to draw it. And if they draw Mines as well or lose, they're already 3 points for Virtus.pro, only 1 left. So no chance, so they have to beat them on Mines for sure.
And there we see Navi in their huddle. Deluxe, Strike, Lashaw, Power Slide, hailing from the Ukraine, Inspire, Eclipse, and Kyrilloid.
Yeah. And even these guys are not that relaxed like usual. They're totally focused.
Incredibly focused.
And there's Diver giving instructions for his team.
And Chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate, got to get that sugar up. Also, the pep talk to get your team in the right mentality is so crucial for any team manager, team leader, especially when nerves can be so high for these young men. I mean, everyone here has been playing video games for quite some time, but some of them have more experience on the stage than others. But no matter what, gentlemen, you always get stage fright. And there's always a little bit of, I hope I don't do anything wrong. I hope I don't make any mistakes. But that support, that comfort from someone, be it a teammate, be it a family member, be it a friend, always makes a difference.
Yeah, you have to give your team the confidence that the crowd is on your side. But while you're fighting, you have totally to ignore it. You just have to focus on your own screen. Everything around you, it's not there.
As a reminder, we want to give a very special congratulations to our MVP of the tournament. From PvP, it was Batman. He'll be taking home an Alienware laptop. Quite the crowd pleaser and one of the coolest storylines we have seen this weekend. Lemming Train from Poland performed incredibly well.
Yeah, especially as a wildcard. They did an awesome job Also for the crowd, very interesting games.
They have
Perfect.
proven the choice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, these two teams are not the wild cards. Navi, the number 1 seed, hailing from the Russian region. Virtus.pro from EU.
And also with the number 1 seed.
Both number 1 seeds here. And they made it through the tournament. We saw a lot of the number 1 seeds. They did not play until the second day. We saw some impressive play from the number 2 seeds. South Korea, Rete, showed some good initiative on some of the maps. Simp showed the strong spreading of freedom, as we say in America, and they surprised a lot of us with their really, really solid performance against Lemming Train. We're not able to hold out against the rematch that they had. Lemming Train is able to win those 2 best-of-3s back-to-back. But I'm sure Navi and Virtus.pro has been watching these teams as well based on the brackets to say, hey, if we do go up against these teams, we're more familiar with who's in our region. We're more familiar with the region next door, be it Europe or Russia, but they could still surprise us.
Also in that case, we have to point out that Unity had the hardest way. I mean, they had to play the first day, the group stage, against the 3 Asian teams to go through the bracket play. So they had already a day full of gaming where everyone else could prepare. And then they make it in the first round against Virtus.pro not to continue, so they have to go to the loser bracket, through the complete loser bracket up to +3.
But they did avoid the death group.
They
That's
did.
true.
They did. Lemming Train is the one that made it out of the death group. And there we go. There's Virtus.pro, psyched and ready to go. Koritz will be leading the charge with Kusak, Delight, Breakneck, Just Cause, Vorsik, and Bishop. We've been speaking about these players many times for their plays.
Not a single seat is free. Everything is full.
No, there was ushers leading people to seats that were not full, and ushers kicking people out because they cannot sit on the stairs due to fire codes.
Not so shabby, not so shabby.
No, and now there's a lot of people over here who I'm waving to right now that are enjoying at the front screen of the multi-kino here in Poland. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out to the show. I'm sure you're having a good time. If we had more seats, we would let you in, but we had to close the doors. It's that full.
Yeah. Wow.
Final preparations from the team players here. Let's briefly talk about Ensk, gentlemen. Mines will set the pace. Ensk is where we're going to see, I think, the real kind of core of what these teams can bring. So after we see Mines in battle number 1, based on the spawns, is this going to be a rail play, or are we going to see that battle as we saw previously happening over in the west, happening more in the city blocks?
It will be actually interesting if you could see a city play, because that hasn't happened even once in the whole tournament. We had the aggressive push from Navi in the last game with Virtus.pro, but you can't really call that a city play. But of course, the railroad play and sawmill play have been more favorites, so I think they will play that.
I've really loved seeing the 2x2. The 2 going the lumberyard way, and then 2 going the railway. The T1 placement is so crucial to spot that, though, on the east side. And we've seen some tankers. Fnatic had a nice play of sending Soviet all the way to the north in that corner. That allowed some good crossfire to the northern edge of the rails.
And in that tactic, they usually left 150-100 in the 6th line to shoot the enemy IS-3s that are spotting the 6th line with the T1s.
But I think the tactic will totally depend on what happened on Mines. Because if it's a tie, 1-1, then every team can play aggressive, try to risk something, play something. If Virtus.pro will win, they got the 2-0 lead, then Navi have to play super aggressive and Virtus.pro will play even more defensive. If it will be a draw, Virtus.pro have to try a bit, but will also play more defensive because they're still 1 in the lead and they only need to draw to continue the series. So in the end, it totally depends what happened on Mines.
Whatever happens on Mines, I still think they will play more cautious than Ensk. I don't think we will see such rush again. Even if they need a quick victory. Quick loss is even worse. They really can't afford that. So,
an aggressive play like they did last time, I personally think it's better to do from the train tracks. But that's only my opinion.
If they split forces on that side, that's a different story. It's harder to defend from there. Most of the teams gave up a bit on a city fight because by the time you regroup and come back, the pressure on a cap is huge. You really have to position perfectly not to take shots from different sides. So major teams like to control the tracks and then they put tanks left or right as they depend on some tactic they developed.
Out of these first 3 maps, gentlemen, Mines, Ensk, Prokhorovka, if one of them was going to play the draw game or both, which one would you predict would be a draw in these first 3?
Ensk.
Ensk. Ents down the line. I think we're going to see some high-octane action. As we say in North America, non-stop action, and that's what we're looking forward to in the finals here, ladies and gentlemen. A huge thank you to Alienware, PayPal, Razer, and the beautiful city of Warsaw as they have helped to make this all possible. And now it is my pleasure to pass on over to the commentators.
Thank you so much, and what a brilliant welcome to an incredible grand final. It's the two teams everybody wanted to see going head-to-head in this moment, but not quite in the route we expected, or what most people expected, should I say, because we're finally seeing Virtus.pro, the team who literally left one region to join the other, to kind of get away from the shadow of Na'Vi, now with the advantage of one map. So, big game coming up. Where's your money in this one?
Well, you know, there's a running joke between Virtus.pro and Na'Vi, and it was always that Virtus.pro was known as the second place team, now coming through the winners bracket, already beating Na'Vi once. Can they prove themselves to be the top team in the world?
Well, we are now seconds away from the very first map here. As we know, it will be Mines. You're getting a beautiful overview there. And in just a second, in the north, it will be Virtus.pro, and in the south, it will be Na'Vi. So, I cannot believe what we're about to see here. The two teams are two phenomenal giants of World of Tanks going head-to-head in the first map to define if it'll be an easy walk in the park for Na'Vi. Maybe they just fancy the challenge. We can only wait and see now as we are live into the game. Take me through those lineups.
Same lineup as we saw previously between these two guys. Double T32, triple AMX 3090, double T1. That's for Na'Vi. For Virtus.pro, we've got the double AMX 5100, the 416, double AMX 3090, and the T69 played by Breakneck. So interesting that Virtus.pro decided to choose this side and not going for the other side, knowing that, you know, Na'Vi beat them on this map before from that side. So maybe they're thinking, we have something else up our sleeves. We got another card to play, which is better than the previous one because it was an awfully close game.
It certainly was. It was one of the best games of World of Tanks we've seen for a long time. And we can expect maybe a more, let's say, cautious start from these two. No one wants to make that mistake. We already see, as this is upper bracket against the lower bracket qualifies into the grand finals, the advantage of one map with Virtus.pro. As you can see on the top, first damage done. Levshar does manage to catch Breakneck out a little bit. Chunk of damage done towards that T69 on the hill, but still, tentative stuff here. And it's almost like a replication of what we saw before coming in from Na'Vi, though.
It's exactly the same tactic. And I think for the more aggressive team, that's definitely a good thing because they can come up with an anti-strat and make it work because the playmakers are the ones who dictate the pace of the game, they dictate the game. So obviously Virtus.pro have something here. They obviously have a tactic to counter Na'Vi. I don't think we'll see an aggressive Na'Vi. We'll see a probing Na'Vi, Strake being the one who always seems to be roaming around the map, trying to find a weakness, trying to find a way into the opposition in terms of damage mostly. If he can just get a couple of shots off, he will start slanting that damage and HP into the favor of his team.
Yeah, and I want to point out, or at least get your opinion on how Virtus.pro previously went about this map. In the end, it didn't go so well, but they put a lot of presence towards that 1-2 line. You know, they got aggressive on that lighthouse. They had a bit of an exchange. I believe it was Kira. Oh, that bounce. That's a bit lucky for Breakneck there. But still, this is a bit of a different start for Virtus.pro. They're not going for that same route. And I think Mago said it quite well, in my opinion, is they don't want to be doing that aggression here. They want to be playing it safe. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, they can't go forwards. That push over the left side, the Lighthouse Island, was a good move and it could have won, but it was so risky. It was such a gamble, and in the end, Virtus.pro couldn't execute it. Na'Vi in the middle with the T32s just simply thwarted them. Levshar taking some damage. So one little bit of damage done to both teams. Not really significant. It will just be a little bit of a confidence booster to Virtus.pro because these guys are perfectionists at the end of the day. That's why they're here, because they perfected the art of World of Tanks. And getting that favor back into your team is a massive thing. It gives you confidence boost. Kusok moving forwards in that T1, trying to get some spots out. And this is, you know, a very tentative start, but there's a lot of things happening. We got the T1s probing. We got the 5100. He's always there in the background for Virtus.pro. We got the Breakneck, the playmaker at the moment, pushing forwards in that T69, trying to do some damage to the T32s, which is no mean feat. Anyone who's played the T69, 250 millimeters of penetration with heat, that's not even AP, and it can bounce a lot of shells. So the fact that Breakneck can penetrate anything from the front is pretty fantastic, and the T32's held down.
Yeah, and Breakneck and Levshar are not far away from staring each other down, so A little bit of a cautious moment. Literally, Breakneck has been letting these shells fly constantly. He knows his players around. He's trying to eliminate every single spot. You can see the fire going back in. That's from Inspire. Another one bouncing. Breakneck is playing this so well right now. He's keeping pressure on Na'Vi, not allowing them an easy push-up. But we are seeing these guys now considering a move in with Levshar and Deluxe.
Now remember last time, Na'Vi didn't have a chance to move in because Virtus.pro had already made their push, already made their move. Now Levshar is going forward. He's going to be joined by that T32 from behind. Deluxe with that 50-meter proxy spot is going to be keeping anyone who's around that corner actually spotted. This is pretty similar to what happened last time. Virtus.pro weren't quite in the same situation because they weren't actually on the hill. And, you know, this may be an indicator that Na'Vi is going to be playing a little bit more aggressive, rather surprisingly, because they are 1-0 down. And, you know, these guys at Natus really did get it spot on. It is about this map 100% because it means if Virtus.pro win it, they can just draw the rest of the maps out. They can just get those points. And eventually Na'Vi just won't have anything to do and they won't be able to break into the defense.
There is a big amount of Na'Vi players just kind of converging towards that 4-5 line. They're all getting ready to maybe make a move towards that hill. You can see Bishop waiting. You can see Vorsik on the hill. We know Breakneck's been up there. A couple more shells connect towards Virtus.pro. Is this where Na'Vi make their push, or are they just testing the front?
They're probing, and they're very, very scared of Delight with that M63, the 416 sporting it. And it's such a decent gun, and it will just continually do damage. Very good rate of fire, 320 average damage.
Jeez.
Good penetration, and it will just completely obliterate you. Kirilight's obviously going to be quick enough to get out there. Strike, Inspire in hot pursuit. Delight on reload, so that was perfect timing, making sure the T-32's by engagement.
Yeah, Breakneck is now in trouble. He does not have support. He's going low. One more shot. Levshar has done it. First kill on the board for Na'Vi. Now Vorsik could be in trouble. He's going to have to scamper away from that hill so damn quickly here, as it's just been brute forced by Na'Vi, just pushing forward together. Those 1390s just whisking up towards that hill. We are seeing Eclipse taking down Kusok as well in those tier 1s, and they are so ready to chomp at this. You can see how low Virtus.pro are getting. Inspire is considerate. Kirill and Strike to the side here, all lining up. Is this where they make their final push?
They have to try and go for it. They have a huge advantage at the moment. The AMX 3090 to come and fill. Let's go!
Indeed, Levshar and Inspire have got Vorsik low. Vorsik is down. That Strike power slide comes in. T32 ripping through the 5100. Levshar finds another one as just Karit's alive. There is nothing to do but run for the last man alive here. And what a start for Na'Vi.
Using those AMX 3090s just to scamper on top of the hill just to get up there was just an amazing play because of the low profile of the tank. They didn't get spotted in time, and Creed does get tracked down. Very unlucky for Powerslide. That T32 isn't particularly accurate, but first blood does go to Na'Vi, leveling the scores to 1-all.
All that work, all the first bit of engagement that came down there. And well, Virtus.pro are now back on an even par with Na'Vi. And why did any of us expect any less from the absolute kings of World of Tanks here? These guys just came out of the stops and just did real damage. And Virtus.pro, they didn't play it badly, but they just got brute forced.
They played into the hands of Na'Vi there. This is what Na'Vi wanted to do last time, but got caught out by that push by Virtus.pro across the Lighthouse Island. So that T69 was in the perfect position. Honestly, you know, Na'Vi needs to make sure that they continue that consistency as they go through. Some good damage coming out from both these teams. And honestly, like, if Na'Vi just play consistently from here on out, now the scores are leveled, then they're going to be extremely hard to stop. And Virtus.pro need to make sure that they keep a little bit of momentum going forwards and they don't get too disheartened by this first loss.
Yeah, and I really wanted to point out there, as you mentioned, the damage and the consistency. The fact is, everyone excluding the tier 1s who actually did get involved, obviously Eclipse did pick up a kill there onto the opposing tier 1. They all shared around 1k damage hitting up to 1.5. So 1.5k was with Power Slide, but every single member had the perfect focus fire. No one was excluded from the battles. No one was too far out of position. Na'Vi looked like a well-oiled machine, and their just cohesion is second to none.
It was unbelievable. I mean, that is a real masterclass, as I said before. Virtus.pro just didn't have an answer. They played into Na'Vi's style completely. Yeah. Our next map will be Ensk. This was picked by Virtus.pro, so Na'Vi will be able to choose a side for this map. Dangerous map for Virtus.pro. Not a particularly strong map, in my opinion, for Na'Vi. One of the weaker maps, I think, along with Steps. But Steps hasn't been played yet, so we don't really know what the teams have for that one.
But then again, Virtus.pro, this was their map choice before. So they didn't get their side choice, and they won this map against Na'Vi to get here. So this has been played previously with these guys. So, that should be in their minds. That should be in the forefront of their minds here, and they know what happened. And already we're seeing, Na'Vi turn this on its head, though. That's the thing. They're already working out, what the opponent did right in the previous game, what they did wrong, how we can change it. So there's a real threat here because, let's put it this way. Maybe Virtus.pro showed their complete hand of tricks. Every single card they had up their sleeve, everything they had to this point, they've now put on the table. What if Na'Vi had a little more left? What if they go that extra step up? I've always said the difference between a good team and a great team is the ones that can come up with something phenomenal when they're pushed to it. It's the ones who can step up that little bit ahead, that one who can find the extra gear to go to just push forward. And I feel that the talent within the side that's on your screen right now certainly has the potential to do it. They could easily just power through.
And you have to remember that Na'Vi actually innovated already on this map. That push up the railroads was pretty meta breaking.
Yes.
It was quite effective as well. They managed to do a lot of damage. They took down Lemon Train with relative ease with that tactic. So if Na'Vi decide to play an aggressive style like they did then they will be very dangerous. And there's no reason why they shouldn't play aggressive. Both teams are now 1-all up, so they're completely even Stevens. Both of these have the option of winning. They still can lose. Obviously, there's a best of 7, so you have to take 4 rounds here to go through. If it's 4-all, we'll be going into the tiebreaker, but it doesn't look like these two teams want to go there at all. And that map is obviously Sand River, but the absolute cold steel concentration on these two teams' faces is pretty stark.
And you were saying about them not wanting to go to the assault map and to that sort of situation, and I really want to point out the fact that these two have been battling against each other for a long time. As we said, towards the Russian leagues, the guys on your screen right now were considered the second-tier team. They were living in the shadow of Na'Vi. And now they have a chance to prove that they've made it. They will not play passively. They're not going to just sit back and say, well, maybe they deserve this. Maybe they're the better side. They are out here to prove a point. Both teams are. Na'Vi have to defend their title. They are considered the most untouchable team at this game. But as you said, we've seen they can bleed real blood. It may be yellow. It may be covered in Na'Vi. But they are real human beings, and they do have flaws to be found. Now, last time Virtus.pro did it. But will they find any more?
There's only a certain amount of flaws Na'Vi can really have. Virtus.pro know them. They've analysed them. As you said, they've played against them many times before. From everything, the Star Ladder series up to Go 4 Cups, up to season finals and the WCGs, Ural Steels, pretty much anything you can think of. But you got to remember, one very, very important factor we're not really taking into account is the fact that Virtus.pro have changed their setup since those times. We've now got Koritz instead of Derp as the team captain, the shot caller. We got the likes of Vorsik, an absolute fantastic player. Bishop there on your left. Kusok's been there pretty much from the beginning. Delight joined in a little bit later. But this is a pretty fresh team. Obviously, a couple of seasons under their belt since the changes and roster changes they did after that defeat to Synergy in Season 1. And that's really the most important thing. Can these relatively new kids on the block beat the old dogs at their own game?
Yeah, and I want your thoughts towards Ensk as well, because it's the next map coming up, obviously. What are your thoughts? Who's going to be walking away the victor here on this map? We've considered our options, Na'Vi or Virtus.pro. Who has the upper hand here?
Na'Vi, not very strong on Ensk, in my opinion. I mean, when I say not very strong on Ensk, we're talking about Na'Vi here, so it has to be relative. Virtus.pro really need to categorize on that. They need to win this map. Otherwise, they're going to be going to the stronger maps for the likes of Na'Vi. Prokhorovka comes to mind. We got Ruinberg and Cliff a little bit later. It can't get to Cliff. If it gets to Cliff, Na'Vi's won.
And I want to say it, the crowd sound a little bit more behind Na'Vi in this one. They're liking the guys coming back up into this. Virtus.pro, they're going to have to do it again. So guys, we are moments away from battle number 2. It's going to be Ensk. And what a brilliant setup here we have for both these teams. What tanks are they rolling with?
These are blind picks, so the two teams have no idea what the other one is picking. It's going to be the triple 5100, double IS3, double T1. That's mirrored on both sides. And it's the standard lineup for this map, standard lineup for Himmelsdorf as well. Provides a perfect equality between damage and also just brute force from the IS3s in terms of armor and HP and also alpha damage. First, a couple of shots coming down from Kiriloid. No real damage done, surprisingly, onto the sides of Virtus.pro.
And I want to point out, so guys tuning in right now, the north side will be Na'Vi. In the south, it's Virtus.pro. It is 1-1. First of all, Virtus.pro didn't pick up a map just yet. They came into this with the advantage of being from the upper side of this tournament. They won all their way through here. So now Na'Vi are on a bit of a roll, and we're seeing a bit of an interesting start from both of these.
So they're kind of drawing the battle lines at the moment. Virtus.pro very obviously went over towards the right side. They didn't even make any effort to drive right along the red line to try and avoid being spotted. They just got over there. They want to get the positions as quickly as possible. They know exactly that Na'Vi will rotate around, and Na'Vi's exactly Virtus.pro will try and get the positions, and they will try and rotate around. Caps are pretty much out of the equation because of the tier 1s guarding them. You can see down below and up above for both teams, and also you got the 5100 of Just Cause waiting in the wings to do an extraordinary amount of damage. Obviously that SA-47 pumping out a cool 1.8k. We do land all 6 shots at the average of 300 damage. Kyriloid on your screen, such an amazing player, one of the stars. A real clutch guy as well. He's the guy who's always consistent. He clutches the battles. He's really one of the amazing guys. Very quiet, obviously, but extraordinary. You have got a push from the left side as well, and they're going to be rotating a little bit. They just want to get the bushes, because you can get the bushes, you get the spots out, and then you have more options.
Yeah, and Power Slide not too far behind. First bit of damage coming in there. Actually, Kusok just being clipped a little bit. He's going to be able to get away, however, so not too much done. But I do want to point out these players know every single intricate detail about this map. So if there's a shot to be made, around these trains, through these trains, they'll be hitting it. And at the moment, it is Na'Vi, doing a lot of the damage. Inspiral of Shah and even Deluxe to an extent have been involved in this. Kusok and Breakneck for Virtus.pro have to back away here because they're already receiving a little bit of damage, and you can't afford it in maps and matches like this.
It was a brave move from Na'Vi there, because they obviously took HE shells to do that damage. The damage isn't enough for the BL9 to only take 100, 150 off. So they took some HE shells knowing that they would probably end up having to shoot under those train tracks or shoot through those train tracks. It did end up paying up. It got 300-400 damage off the side of Virtus.pro already. That'll help in the firefight. Not a massive advantage, but a little one. And you got to take those little victories to win the battle in the end. Kusok now on reload, trying to get some more shots down. He's actually trying to kill the cover more than anything. He doesn't really have to worry about taking shots himself. But again, very brave play from Na'Vi, because it doesn't mean they can load a full complement of AP ammo. And the i3, it doesn't actually have that much ammunition.
Yeah, so let's take into account the positioning so far. You're saying there's a brave play from Na'Vi, but what position has that left them in, and what options do they have if they want to go for the game here? Currently, we're obviously all tied up, all even, so a draw wouldn't really help or negate much here. Really. It'd just keep it all even, go to the next map. It'd be a 1 point each. So no real gain or loss, apart from maybe you're not comfortable here, but these two teams, maybe you'd argue that Na'Vi aren't the most strong on this one. You've said it before, it's not their strength. Would you say maybe they'd rather not face off for a win or a loss on this and just try and play it safe?
Yeah, that's pretty much the plan, I think. Unless one of these two teams have a specific strategy for this map that they know is almost guaranteed to counter the other team's strategy and come out with a win, they won't be going forwards. They'll just be staying back and going for that draw, because it will just, as you said, even the scores to 2-2 won't make any difference. And we're just moving on to our next map. That's all that's going to happen. But we've still got 5 minutes and 52 seconds left on the clock, so still plenty of possibilities. You can see that Na'Vi's still trying to find a way, and they don't want to be passive. They know they could just sit all the way into the city and just wait for Virtus.pro to come into their firing lines. But there's no need. 1-1. Inspire making another shot, trying to take as much cover as he can. Because obviously those houses are surrounding the cap. You get rid of those houses and you get rid of the cover for Virtus.pro.
Well, let's put it this way. Last time Na'Vi played this map and they played it aggressively, it was the one that gave Virtus.pro the victory. So they're not wanting to just run in there like they did before. They did this aggressive, brilliant push, but it also lost them the game. So now it may be time to consider their options, safer options, but they're still going to make these shots. They're still going to keep these guys at bay. If you play completely passively, if you roll over, Virtus.pro will be like, well, we've got an option here, let's see what we can do. So Na'Vi still on their toes. I feel as though this is a better map for them to play in this sort of way.
Yeah, I agree completely. This is the map they want to be drawing on 100%. They're definitely going to be waiting for Virtus.pro to make the first move. And if they do, then they're going to be moving into very, very risky areas indeed. And they're going to be facing a lot of firepower from the side of Na'Vi. Those 350-100s obviously pump out a huge amount of damage in a short period of time, and it's very dangerous to drive around even the smallest of corners, because you're just going to get yourself tracked. And inspiring that IS3 is also a very menacing figure, if you ask me. 4 minutes and 21 seconds left on the clock. Dulux still trying to keep the cap down, making sure that if Virtus.pro decide to move into their cap, he can just rotate into the Virtus.pro cap and get a counter cap on. But Eclipse also going to be joining Dulux. Maybe this is the start of something for Na'Vi. You can see the kind of rotation going around the bottom. Strake is still keeping it cool up into C5. He's there to stop anything. And pretty much he's going to be saving the day if it does come down to Virtus.pro going into the cap, because 5 tanks in 1 cap. Strake has got to hit, let's say, 3 shots to reset significantly and potentially win the game for his team. But other than that, Virtus.pro is quite happy to sit back. They haven't really moved in the last 2, 3, 4 minutes, and they're just waiting for Na'Vi to perhaps hit one of their blind shots. Power Slide's certainly trying.
Yeah, indeed. And do you think this will end in a push from Na'Vi? Do you think they're actually going to go for what we're seeing here? You know, they have 2 big, well, very big tanks back here, down by that KHJ section. Will we be seeing actually, you know, those 2 tier 1s of Dulux and Eclipse maybe applying a little bit of pressure to the cap, or is it maybe just a toy with Virtus.pro here?
Yeah, they're definitely toying with Virtus.pro. That's almost a given. I'm quite surprised that Bishop actually hasn't been killed, to be honest. Amount of blind shots that's come out of those Eclipse, Dulux, Inspire, and Power Slide is pretty incredible. So not finding a single shot onto Bishop there is mind-boggling. He's obviously found a bush where it's just the least likely to be hit. Maybe done some theory crafting there. And are just going to be sticking with that one. Also, you know, you've got to remember the 5100s can't actually peek out for too long because they're going to get themselves shot, because you can see the tracers. You just aim where the tracer is and you make your own shot, and you'll definitely connect with the tank sitting at the end.
Yeah, so Na'Vi kind of getting back to maybe a more normal position. Power Slide backing away from the cap point. They're rejoining the rest of the side down that 5 line here, as the rest of the team of the opposition of Virtus.pro just maintain the spots they are in. Both teams not feeling confident on this one, clearly. It's never been a stronghold for either, but you know, I still feel that Na'Vi are trying a little something here. They're still toying with the idea of it. They're still considering what could happen, and what are their options in this position?
Well, 2-minute mark is where things get interesting, because it means that you can still retreat and go for the draw even if you try something, and that's what Na'Vi's got in the back of their minds. They're going to go for the cap if they can, force Virtus.pro out of their hiding spots, and potentially take it by just capping flat out if they get very, very lucky. Using the 2 T1s behind the 5100, it acts as the most perfect barn door pretty much to those 2 tanks. Now they're going to go.
Well, they're going to try it. Power Slide is moving in, as is Dulux, as is Eclipse. Levshar and Inspirer in cover, but one shell does come in, not really connecting perfectly. Dulux does stay alive, and look at this. It's an absolute fortress of tanks, and no one's breaking through just yet from Virtus.pro. They're resetting this, but Kusok receives damage, as does Delight. If this is a trap, it's not going too badly for Na'Vi at the moment. Power Slide is going low, though. He's surely going to go down here. There he goes, removed from the battle by Just Cause, but Kirill has found the reply, but only on a tier 1 so far. So they need to get these big kills in, and it's forcing Virtus.pro to make their move. Can Na'Vi hold the numbers here against the opponent, moving in against them? They're committing. Breakneck's going in, as is Vorsic. 1 minute left. Inspire is down low, as is Lashar. This is dangerous. This could go wrong, and it is. 2 kills back to back for Virtus.pro, and now they're looking for more. Kirill is running away. He's backing away. Eclipse is doing the same, but 3 men staring him down. Great shot coming in from Breakneck, and now Eclipse and Strike on the run.
They're going to try and catch him up, but it's going to be very, very tricky. This is the smallest map in World of Tanks, 600 by 600 meters, so maybe they can do it, but I very, very doubt it. You can see how fast Strike is running into that top corner, A1. If he can, Just Cause is probably just going to come around and take down Eclipse, no problem at all, but 20 seconds.
20 seconds left. 1 man goes down. That is Eclipse. Strike is the one you're going to have to keep your eyes on, because they are closing in. 10 seconds, 8 seconds. Every single second this is gonna hurt Strake. His heart will be pounding. He must stay alive. He must stay alive. And he's done it. They've drawn this one out. But my God, that was close.
Strake just real with the 6th sense, knowing when to retreat. He doesn't want to go forwards. He doesn't want to help his team. The best thing he can do for his team then was to retreat. He knew exactly what to do when. They've obviously practiced that a million times before. And that's the 2-minute mark these 2 teams see. They had a go Na'Vi had a go. Bishop probably was the star player then for Virtus.pro with that reset. He got taken down immediately, but he did 50% damage to the tier 1 sitting up behind Power Slide, getting the actual capture points. So a very, let's say, cheesy move by Na'Vi, a very classical move. We've seen it plenty of times before, but definitely worth a try.
And they actually went aggressive, considering this was the map in the end. Let's put them in the end. They weren't exactly aggressive off the bat, but a team that lost their previous game to this opponent, they still had the guts and the courage to go aggressive and give it a try. They had to show, the opponents that we're still here. We're still going to challenge you on every front. The moment you sit back, the moment you relax, you think you've got it, we will punish you. And they almost did. Don't get me wrong, Strake was the man in the middle of the screen, almost there at the bottom. It got a bit close. I can imagine his palms got a little bit sweaty as you can imagine the rest of the entirety of Virtus.pro just towering down towards him. But they kept cool and they still did the job. So Na'Vi, win, lose or draw, that pressure never stops from these guys. And Virtus.pro, they now know that. So I'm not sure what to expect from the next map. It's going to be Prokhorovka. Now, I haven't seen much of these two on this map before. We never really made it to there in the end. It was Na'Vi's choice in the previous matchup, obviously not making it to that map in that one. But what can we expect from these two here?
Prokhorovka's a messy map. It doesn't matter if you're Na'Vi, it doesn't matter if you're Lemming Train, it doesn't matter if you're PvP Super Friends, it doesn't matter if you're Virtus.pro. It is a messy map if you go for that engagement. If you camp on either side of the polar opposites, we have the left side, the tree road, we've got the right side with that hill and the village, then it's going to be pretty static. But if you're going for engagement, you're going to get messy, you're going to get brawly. You've got the middle area. It's basically an open field with a few hills here and there to actually go in for. And that's the most crucial thing. Will these teams go forwards? Which team will have the biggest tactic? Because this is a very tactical map. I always call it the open canvas because you can draw whatever you want on it. And as long as you can get that execution, which, in my opinion, Virtus.pro lacks for Na'Vi. Virtus.pro definitely have, I think, accuracy. They got a bit of fight coordination a little better, but execution, definitely Na'Vi in the running there. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the most important thing, especially the first 30 to 40 seconds when that first spots come out from the AMX 3090. Where is the other team going? What is the other team doing? And what extraordinary move have they got in the back of their minds?
And I've got to say, Navi's playstyle till now has just thoroughly impressed me. I can say nothing but that. My first time casting them was, an absolute masterclass in how to play this game. These guys are on point, but you can take nothing away from Virtus.pro. There's a solid reason they made it into the grand finals with almost 0 losses. These guys are absolutely on a roll here. But the last couple of maps will remind them that this is not going to be an easy game. This is not what they may think of, European finals or any other final they've been in. This is where they're facing off against the best in the world. This is the point of this tournament where every single team has a chance to prove what they're made of. And at the moment, it's these two who've come out on top.
This is a year of competition. This is 3 seasons or 2 seasons, depends on the format. But it's 3 seasons for both Europe and Russia, the 2 representatives for this finals. Virtus.pro obviously being European and Na'Vi being the Russian representative, Russian and CIS, I should say. So a year's worth of work, 3 seasons under their belt, 2 wins for the side of Virtus.pro. That's season 2 and 3. Obviously came second to Team Dignitas. Now Synergy in season 1. Na'Vi with a bit of a clean sheet, though. First season, yes, we talked about it a little bit earlier. A very, very close game to Unity. They actually went down to the lowest bracket and almost lost it in the lower bracket as well. But they did end up taking it and also took the subsequent 2 seasons, that's 2 and 3. So very, very clean sheet for them. So in terms of just statistics, Na'Vi definitely the better team. But Virtus.pro, it doesn't really matter. Virtus.pro is so good. These 2 teams are just as good as each other. And on the face of it, I'm a massive fan of the European teams, and I think they provide some great challenges there. Obviously, head over to thegrandfinals.com to submit your votes, and also on our social media pages if you want to get involved with some great prizes. Yeah,
of course. And make sure you check out the other 14 teams who turned up to this tournament, and now there's only 2 of them left. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of new faces into the scene, and these 2 have just powered through this, both starting on that second day, but still no one can say they didn't get tested. Hell, while they went down to the lowers and fought their way back up. So obviously, they got pushed to their limits here. And there's been some real surprises. New teams coming in, shaking and really causing upsets. We saw the wild card coming in, going so far in front of their home crowd. So everything is down for this. Everything. And these let's look at the fact that Strake stayed alive there. That's brought them back on an all-even playing field pretty much. It's now, 2-2 in the series, basically. Now, if you look overall towards this, one of these choices, one of these moments, one of those shells connecting could cost you 20k, the difference between first and second. That is what these moments come down to. It's not just the money, it's obviously the pride, the bragging right, saying we are the best in the world. Simple as that. Every single region that has, a tournament, that has a league, had their representative here. Whether or not they perform to the extent they can is up in the air, but these two teams have. So now it's to find out who is obviously going to be going ahead with the advantage pretty much. So we are just waiting for these guys to finally get themselves ready. Obviously you can see there that nothing can be out of place. Nothing can be wrong for these guys right now because, as we said, one single mistake, one missed shot, let's say, my keyboard was in the right place. If that's not exactly where you want it, that could be the difference between first and second. 20k for a mistake. You can't be making that right now.
You don't want to be there making mistakes when it comes to $20,000. And you've got to remember it's actually more money than that. We're talking about 4k per map. You also got the Blitz prize to think about. Whichever team does do the fastest round gets the Blitz prize pool. Yeah. That's all the money's added from the draws, put it in a pool, and the team takes it home with the quickest map in the bag. So all that to think about. I think the first place team will be looking at $110, $120k dollars easily. So it just blows every other tournament in World of Tanks history just out the water completely. But money is not a motivation for these two teams. I guarantee 100% that none of these guys, none of these 14 players on the stage will be thinking about money. They'll be just thinking about the next round. Because at the end of the day, when you want to perform as a player, you're more thinking about your friends. You're more thinking about your compatriots. You're more thinking about everyone else and your moment and your time and your strategy and your shots than the 60k or the 100k. They're just numbers. They don't mean anything.
Well, it's the mentality you have to have. Otherwise, all that pressure just suddenly comes piling on. You know what I mean? They've got to just think about playing the best game they can with the best teammates that they have and doing them justice and being truly proud of what they've achieved. And they can already do that. Let's keep that in mind. They can already be truly proud of making it here. But these two teams, they want to win it. As simple as that. So guys, make sure you do get involved via all the social medias. I want to know what you guys are thinking at home. What's your prediction so far? We have a good couple of maps left here. We've got Prokhorovka coming up. We have Himmelsdorf coming up. We could have Ruinberg. We could have Cliff. And hell, we can even go all the way to Assault if we really had to. But I want to know what you guys at home are thinking right now because we have an incredible audience here you cannot ignore. They've been so loud, they've been so involved, they've been absolutely awesome. But you guys at home as well, turning out in your numbers, get involved by the hashtag #TheGrandFinals because we are ready now for Prokhorovka. What can we expect from these two?
I think a scouting battle, an information battle, that is the name of World of Tanks. You have to get that information before you make the move. Tier 1's very important despite the lack of damage they can do, the lack of capping pressure they can do. They need to be the ones going forwards for the 5100s. Let's have a little look at the lineups we got for these two teams. Quite interesting stuff. We've got Delight playing that 4-1-6, Breakneck and Bishop with the Pershing and the T69 respectively. Just Cause and Borsig playing the two AMX1390s. The T1s are a given. And for the side of Na'Vi, we've got a Pershing, a double T69, double AMX1390, and obviously those two T1s. From the north, it is going to be Na'Vi. From the south, it's Virtus.pro.
So, what can we really see from these two going initially into this battle? Because they're certainly not just going to be sitting back and playing this one calm. It looks as though they've got something in mind. And what can you tell me about this so far?
Well, the standard tactic from the south is going over towards that village, and that's what Virtus.pro is doing. I think it's a better option because you can get the hull down behind those railroads. You can also look towards the hill with a tier 1. You've got the cover from the houses in the village. Yes, they're destructible houses, but they still take one hell of a beating, especially with the tanks these guys are playing, and probably weren't having loaded a lot of HT shells at all. Also, you got to remember that you can actually shoot through objects now, so you can shoot through trains, you can shoot through fences and stuff, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. For the side of Na'Vi, definitely heading over towards the tree road with most of their tanks, just having a little gander around the middle with the AMX1390s. They got quite a heavy hull down composition there. They got two T69s and a Pershing. They're going for the hill battles. They're going for the middle battles. They're going for the slower game. Whilst we can obviously see Virtus.pro with that 416 want the damage. They want the sniping shots out. They want to pick off Na'Vi as their AMX1390s go forwards.
Yeah, and I'm curious if Just Cause can land any nice little opening shots there, and maybe a little bit of blind fires. Breakneck is letting a couple of shells fly, no real connections just yet, so bear in mind this is one of the more careful and cautious maps on occasion. You don't see people just rushing in. We've been treated some rather off-the-rails games as Powerslide does receive the first shell there. He's down to 1-1-0-2, but still, we've seen a lot of kind of out-of-the-rails games, and there's that first shot for Just Cause. Picking up Eclipse there in that tier 1. Good work from him initially, just removing the eyes and ears from such a big map as well.
It was a risky move by Just Cause because he did have to peek a lot to get that kill. MX3090, no gun depression, so he had to commit 100% to take down Eclipse. No one from Na'Vi could respond, despite the fact that they had those gun depressions to do it with the T69 and the Pershing. So a little bit surprising that they didn't take out Just Cause or didn't do some damage at all. It wasn't even that far away, and the Pershing is a decently accurate tank. The only thing it really doesn't have is that aim down time is a little slow. But Breakneck is trying to find some more damage. Powerslide, as you said, is down to 1-1-0-2 in that T69. So a tentative start at the beginning, probing a little bit from both teams. Na'Vi can probably end up going around and down and using the kind of Lemming Train-esque style of using the real brute brawlers in the middle, sending the MX3090s down below where Just Cause and Vorsik are now, and just engaging those two with two MX3090s and just win that middle fight with your real damage dealers.
Let's see if they go for any of that right now, because we are still seeing, obviously, as you mentioned, that very tentative, cautious start. Vorsik still weighing up his options. Just Cause doing the same in that 1390, backing away as well. You can see Deluxe is just playing quite smart. They're being careful. And these guys, they can't risk anything right now, because we are tied up all even. Let's bear that in mind. Obviously, Virtus.pro coming in with the map advantage from being in the upper bracket, basically. And, well, take me through the options here. And take me through the chances of them actually happening, because Prokhorovka, we've seen our fair share of draws on this, because, you know, if you don't get that initial advantage, sometimes it's not worth the risk of just rushing in towards the end. You know, what do you think we're going to see at the end of this? Well,
it's pretty hard for Virtus.pro to make the move from the eastern side because you end up driving over that railroad. So at the end, I think Na'Vi will have to go forwards and they'll have to make the first move. Risky, and Virtus.pro knows it because they have got the M4, the 416 up on that hill, so they'll just be sniping as they do come across. But at the end of the day, tied up 2-all, draw on Ensk. Now they have to go forwards, they have to try something new. They have to end up getting a win. No one wants to play Sand River on Assault. They want to be winning on these maps. They've been playing, they've been practicing. Remember Na'Vi with that 10 hours a day for 2 weeks schedule. Virtus.pro with a 7-day boot camp in Moscow, all playing together, all living together, all eating together, living and breathing World of Tanks, and definitely spending the majority of their time anti-stratting Na'Vi.
Yeah, it's always been a thing, isn't it? You know, you can get kind of caught out by unknown teams, but when you may be facing against Na'Vi, you do your homework. You sit at home, you watch those games back, you watch the VODs back, you watch everything you can about them, and you work out every single weakness you may feel is a choice to utilize. Those shots are still coming through, but very few connections. Let's bear in mind, Virtus.pro have not received a single shell of damage yet. Normally when I say that, someone does manage to attract a shell, but still. No damage caused for them, only Eclipse being down the tier 1 and Powerslide receiving 1 shell of damage. But as you said, the options low with Na'Vi really in this position to make anything from it. But they've already lost a tier 1 here. They made the aggressive move on the last map. I don't see them going for it in this. I think they're going to have to look towards the next one here because it may not be the best option for them. But let's bear in, you know, let's kind of look back to what we saw on the last time, which was Himmelsdorf, which is the next map. And it was Karitz that saved the day pretty much for Virtus.pro. He single-handedly drew that one out against, you know, the entirety almost of the Na'Vi side hunting him down. But, you know, 4 minutes and 24 seconds, there's still time here. But, you know, Na'Vi, I feel they're going to get into a bit of a mental, you know, strained position if they don't start picking up these maps here.
The most important thing is that time at the top of your screens. Both teams will be looking at it intently. As we saw in Ensk, that 2-minute mark is the real trick. It's when you can attack, you can still win, but you can't really lose. You can just send a tier 1 or, in the case of Ensk, an AMX 5100 back and to survive taking the draw, bringing obviously 1 point to both teams. So I think around that 3 to 2 minute mark, we might see a move from, most likely, as I said before, Na'Vi, possibly Virtus.pro if they've really got a tactic for this. but it's a game about timing and it's a game about spotting and information. That's been reduced for Na'Vi because of Eclipse going down in that Tier 1. Both in Tier 1 still intact. That's Karitz and Kusok for the side of Virtus.pro. But this is expected, to be honest. This is the finals, and you don't want to be giving anything away. We've seen a lot of quick games. This is where the pace is going to start slowing down as things are getting the most serious they can at this point in time. This is the biggest title in World of Tanks history. This is the biggest title we've ever seen by an absolute long shot. And the Monolith obviously crowning that achievement as the global finalists. And I would be playing extremely cautiously. And my hands would be shaking like crazy, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, because let's bear in mind, every single move they make, every mouse twitch they may do to look for an opponent to find an inch out of place, there's mistakes waiting. There's choices to be made. These individual players make up a team that could change the face of World of Tanks esports. That's the difference here. These guys have so much pressure riding on these moments. No mistakes can be made, and we saw it. In the words of Virtus.pro themselves, they know they can't afford mistakes here. They know they can't allow Na'Vi to see a single weakness because it will be exploited within a second. As soon as they witness anything that looks like, oh, that could be a way in, they will use it, and we know they can. They're an absolute force within this, and at the moment, both teams being deadly cautious of each other.
I don't want that brawl I was talking about earlier. It's a messy map, Prokhorovka. It just is pure mess. And when it becomes down to all those things we've been talking about, the prizes and the reputation, you just don't want to rely on mess. You want to rely on cool, calm, calculated city maps like our next two, Himmelsdorf, Ruhenberg, Cliff as well. A pretty even-sided map and not open, so you got plenty of cover. But that 2-minute mark has come and gone, meaning that we won't see either of these teams push forwards. We won't see any kind of aggression from these. Pretty certain that it's going to be a draw here. One of probably the slowest map we've seen in 3 days. Only damage going in favor of Virtus.pro, taking power slide down a little bit, but at the end of the day, it just isn't enough damage to make Virtus.pro decide to go forwards.
Yeah, so Virtus.pro looking towards those next couple of maps. A couple more shots will be kind of exchanged and going through, but nothing really to define this game. And I think it is now time. I didn't want to call it too early before, but you can tell when a map's going to be played out for the long haul rather than the fast push. The next map will be Himmelsdorf coming up, and we need to look at the implications of this. So another draw on the board will take us to 3-all. So these teams will want to start making moves here.
Virtus.pro have chosen Himmelsdorf, so that allows Na'Vi the side pick. I'm thinking from the north, that was Na'Vi's pick last time. It did end up working because of the way Virtus.pro pushed around the left side. Didn't work against Unity though, that was completely broken. Only thing that saved Virtus.pro, Na'Vi then was Lev Shah's just pure instinct and also some very, very big mistakes in Unity, sending the IS3s one way and none of them the other way, so they couldn't actually cross off there. But 16 seconds left on the clock. We won't be seeing any kind of action here on Prokhorovka. Kind of to be expected. I mean, that's the reason why Steps was banned out. If they could ban out another map, they would almost certainly ban out Prokhorovka. We've seen it ban out a few times beforehand. But it will be a draw. It will bring the score to 3-all in the favor of no one. Moving on to Himmelsdorf, our next map.
Yeah, so Himmelsdorf, the defining map near on of the previous one. It was drawn out, Himmelsdorf, last time around, but that was because of some incredible play by Karitz. Karitz literally saving the Virtus.pro side for that victory in the end, and we need to look back at that, and you need to kind of take into account what Na'Vi may be thinking going into this, because they know what's at stake now. They know how these guys play, and we know Virtus.pro can play for that long haul game. That's their style at times, and well, 3-all, this could be decided on this map.
I think it will be decided on this map. I'm betting whoever wins this map will take the whole series. If it's a draw, that'll be 4-all. We'll be moving on to our tiebreaker. That's Assault Sand River. Whoever wins this will be taking those 4 points necessary to win the best of 7 and walk home with the win at the end of the day. So huge amount of pressure on these two teams. And in my opinion, this is actually the best map we can have for the finals, because it's the most balanced map at the end of the day. Everyone knows it's so balanced. You can look on your mini-maps and see that it's 50-50. You can see how everything kind of symmetrical, and the map is so brilliant, and it's been used so long. I just love it.
Yeah, and I think we need to take a recap of what we've seen so far here, because a lot's gone down. There's a lot of history in the previous matchup, and to take stock, I think it's best to head over to our analysis desk to give us a refresher on exactly what we've just seen and what we might be seeing in the next map.
Thank you, Pansy and Oliver. Breaking down what we've seen so far, the T-32 placement around that corner coming from Mines, and also how tight Na'Vi was playing. We've brought this up many times, gentlemen, on teams that are too spread out versus teams that are clumped together and effectively working together in such a tight space. That's what happened for Na'Vi on Mines, and they were able to tie up the series with that win.
Yeah, you can definitely say Mines, as you spoke, is a counter-push map from side 2. And Na'Vi, after start, to see what will actually Virtus do, waited for them to spread out the map, position the tanks, and push hard. Now Virtus made major mistakes. They left the 69 and 3090 up. 416 was just back, staying back to snipe. 5100 was close. 3090 was on the left. But they had nothing to stop a fast push. 3 3090s covered by the hold down of 2 32s that are holding the ground for anyone able to help. Only choice they had would be to run down. But they're too slow. They can't. As the moment 3090s climbed up, the 69 was already dead.
Yeah, Breakneck was there going, uh-oh, as the 3 tanks were pushing really fast.
As they fell, it was like dominoes. 50 or 100 cut below, that's it.
That's it, and that's what happens to a lot of teams. You cut out that 5100, damage dealer 6 shots that from a distance can hold the line sometimes in a defensive play, but in the offensive is in the back of the line, and you've been saying that all weekend long.
But we could have enjoyed here. This is a textbook execution of a plan.
Yes.
Textbook,
definitely.
step by step. 32s, peaks, 3 3090s. Swoop, take out 1, take out 2, reload, finish the game.
But what was very crucial, too, was the role of the T-32. Hashtag no cons, the T-32, one of my favorite tanks. Where it was positioning itself around the corner and allowing the 2 other tanks to move kind of individually to share that HP. And Ensk, we saw the mirror matchup, 5100s, IS-3s. No big surprises there. It did end in a draw, but the effective gameplay was kind of even between the two teams.
They had basically the same idea how they want to play the map. One team on the north going for the 4-5 line, so on the left side of the trackway, the other team going from the south on the right side. So they had exactly the same position basically from their own cap. 1T1 as spotter with the 5100 behind to cover them if they're going to their own cap. Then tanks on the railways to support, even if the enemy team tried to push own or the enemy cap. So it was totally even all over. And in the end, Na'Vi tried to push in, try the cap, 5100 in front of the 2 T1s, but Bishop, he hid it so perfectly in this bush. I mean, he avoided 20 to 25 shots from Na'Vi, and then he were able to set the reset, and that was a key to draw for Virtus.pro here, and also come back into the game, and then Na'Vi was on the back foot and had to run.
Yeah, and the position of strike was really crucial, because the position of strike in the north was a place that they wanted to secure the draw. If they cannot cap the Virtus.pro space, they still have the 5100 in their own base and that can run
100% health.
Yeah, and 100% health that can run to the northwest corner and just hide there and make it to the draw.
And still he could help his teammates shooting down the railways from
he
this
was
position.
sniping all the time.
Exactly.
I'd say interesting part about that map would be the initial placement of the tanks. You could see Virtus and Na'Vi moving, and they were like yin and yang.
Exactly. I love seeing that too. That's how you see a matchup, that it's almost equal because of how they position their tanks. Even at the time resets halfway through the battle. The T1 positionings, which we're going to have to really look closely at in the next matchup, which is going to be on Himmelsdorf, I feel is going to make or break this tournament series. It's going to make or break what happens between Virtus.pro and Na'Vi. The T1 that was taken on Prokhorovka helped to lead to the draw, because when you lose those eyes and ears, you can lose up to a third of map knowledge when you don't have those tanks out there.
And also Himmelsdorf will be crucial, because in the past 95% of the games were a victory or defeat on Himmelsdorf. So there's only 5% chance of a draw. So I think it will be decided.
It's a versatile map and everyone can do some bold tactics or really careful attacks. It will be really fun to watch it. But Virtus already knows if they can bleed,
you can kill it.
You can kill it.
That's right.
The Garnator.
$60,000 is on the line for first place. $20,000 was awarded to the third place team, Red Rush Unity. $40,000 goes to the second place team. A $20,000 difference, and the pride of knowing you are the best team in the world at World of Tanks is on the line between Na'Vi and Virtus.pro. Let's kick it back to the commentators.
Thank you so much, Clutch, and the entirety of the analysis desk. Then it's so good just hearing it from other points of view. And I think Clutch summed up to me there. It's make or break time. The secondary team almost from a long time ago is now on level pegging with Na'Vi, the strongest team in the world of Tanks. You can look at it any way you want. Phenomenal team. So guys, we're now moments away from the deciding map here, or what could be, to crown the first champion from the world of Tanks. Now, what can we expect from these two on this? Because last time we saw a just phenomenal sight. Will we see it again?
We are probably going to get some absolute next level tactics. Winter Himmelsdorf is the map, and Na'Vi Virtus.pro is the matchup. What are we going to see? Well, we're going to see some fantastic world-class World of Tanks. I think it comes down to those firefight, comes down to the basics, and I love that. Coming back to the basics, it's about focus fire, it's about blocking, it's about damage, and it's about damage taken. It's going to be a very close map. From the north, we have got Na'Vi, and from the south, it's Virtus.pro.
And we need to start talking about those tanks here. Is there anything that's jumping out to you, or is this what we expected to see? Is this Himmelsdorf, the basics, the back to basics that we expect to see from these two teams?
It's completely the standard lineups for this map, and as we saw in Ensk, it's the same lineup they took there. The triple 5100, it's a double IS3, and of course those two T1s making up the 2 tier points difference you need from the 5 tier 8s, 42 being the format. We're using 7 is the amount of tanks you can take. First spot's coming out to Dulux, that's the tier 1 and team captain of Na'Vi, Virtus.pro, pushing up the hill with that 5100, a pretty standard start from them.
Yeah, but I want to throw your attention to the way Na'Vi is setting up towards the northwest side here. Is this a passive start, or is this them just being the way they like to play this? Is this them getting in their comfort zone for a bit of a big battle ahead?
It's not a passive start, that's for sure. It's actually quite aggressive. Using Lev Shah and Inspire to go forwards in those IS3s, they're looking for breakneck, they're looking for the kills and the damage onto the IS3s. And also, Strake is down to 1024, and Dulux has also taken some damage in that tier 1. So at the moment, Virtus.pro are winning those battles. They're winning the little battles that lead up to you taking that match. And you've got to look at Kusok. He was the guy that went down to 621 HP in the previous matchup when these guys fought in that semi-finals of the winners bracket, and it definitely didn't help them when it came to that firefight. So Kusok is going to be a pivotal player. He has to make sure he's getting everything done properly. Otherwise, when it comes down to it, he's going to lose in the game. Yeah, and we already found out how important these tier 1s are as well. The positioning saving Virtus.pro previously in that tier 1, and Deluxe being low already. This is looking like not a repeat, but a very similar sight here. When you lose those tier 1s, you lose the eyesight, the ears, you lose so many options. And how many times have we seen counter caps, counter play, those backup plans in action almost immediately. And this is the map that is always going to happen on, so you want to make sure you're looking after these guys. And we are seeing a little bit of a shuffle around for these two, but I think it's just more kind of settling into the pace of Himmelsdorf. Yeah, and what's interesting is that Na'Vi hasn't committed really any resources towards that hill. We usually see from both sides 1 or 2 AMX 5100s going up there. Virtus.pro has done it along with Bishop in that tier 1. They got 2 5100s, Just Cause and Vorsik. Na'Vi haven't got anything. They've got Eclipse there, which I think Just Cause and Vorsik are going to dispatch very quickly. It doesn't look like Eclipse is getting a little bit tentative. Usually you'll see the rotate coming off after a few minutes because they know well, if they can get the advantage, and a tier 1 is a massive advantage on Himmelsdorf, it does come down to that cap, they certainly will do. But as soon as those 2 5100 get spotted, as they have been, you'll see the movement from coming out from Na'Vi, and indeed we are. Lev Shah's going forwards. Yeah, Lev Shah now toying with the idea of heading down, but he is a little bit out on a limb. He obviously does have backup, just mere steps away, but still, he's got to be careful here. Obviously, a lot of Virtus.pro looking for a way in here, looking to prove that point, to finally reclaim the title and really get themselves up there. Strike just adapting across as well. Both teams finding out where they want to go. We've seen a bit of a backup from the hill. Virtus.pro had 2 big tanks up there, now just leaving 1 and the tier 1. But where do you think the fight may go down out of this? I think it'll go down in more towards that center area because Na'Vi hasn't committed a 5100 onto the hill. Sometimes we see that counterplay with the 5100s. One goes on the hill and there's 2 there from the other team and they kind of just collapse on that one, do a lot of damage, track it as it tries to get off the hill, and at the end of the day take it out. Those 5100s then can rotate either into the cap of the enemy's base or indeed back down and actually protecting their screen, their own team, so they can go in for another attack. But Strake has taken some damage he did already. So let's be honest, Virtus.pro have a slight advantage. It wouldn't be stupid of them to go forwards and take real responsibility for that advantage. But at the end of the day, Breakneck just took some there, 1,230 left on that IS-3. So everything's kind of even, meaning that both teams are going to be a little tentative to go forwards. But again, 95% is the amount of battles that are played on this map which haven't gone to a draw, only a win and loss coming out.
Yeah, and I want you to ask you then when it was on the screen, but it has been changed up a bit here because there is a little bit of movement from Na'Vi, readjusting, looking for those new angles. What was the positioning they came out from the hill? They were really looking for a way through. I think it was Just Cause actually just keeping eyes across, maybe looking for a potential pick or a kill on the cross, but nothing coming of it. Where is that tank going to go now? Because it looks like Na'Vi are not making a move this just yet. They are really biding their time here. Where's that move going to come from, and where is the opening or any weakness you may see in either side?
Well, Na'Vi have got a lot of tanks in one position, which is always very good on city maps. They can pretty much collapse in down that 1-2-3 line without a problem. Virtus.pro starting to rotate now. Kreitz and Vorsik, as well as Just Cause, start to peer up that 8 line, maybe looking for a kill onto Dulux, get that tier 1 advantage they can. Kreitz logically will go first because despite the fact that a tier 1 is important, it's not as important obviously as a 50-100, which can do a lot more damage and has a lot more HP. So Dulux maybe going to find himself in trouble, but immediately reacts despite the relatively slow play and gets himself out of there. But he's down to about 30% HP, so he has to be a little bit careful. But Na'Vi know the tier 1's going up there, so they can rotate around. But again, this is very static play for Na'Vi. They're not willing to go forwards once again on Himmelsdorf. Maybe they have a plan for the tiebreaker map. I just don't know.
At the moment, it looks like they're going to have to. Maybe they're waiting for Virtus.pro to make their move, expecting it, hoping for it, praying that they decide to finally take the advantage. But we are finally seeing a little bit of a movement coming out. Don't want to give too much away, but Vorsik and Just Cause are starting to edge forward down that banana line, but they don't want to overextend. They are leaving the likes of Kreitz to just kind of toy, with the opponents, find out where they are, test that water, and see if he can get any spots on the way.
He's going to be really, really a key player here. He does get into that left corner. He might actually spy out left Shah. That 50-meter proxy rule, obviously very, very important. Yes, he will do. So left Shah gets spotted. He'll immediately try and reverse. There's about 10 seconds for being spotted until he get unspotted again. So you have to be a little bit careful. It'll also give fantastic amount of information for Virtus.pro. That's why they're moving through the courtyard with the 250-100. You'll see the rotate from the IS-3s in the middle around. And most importantly, Delight in that left corner in the 50-100 will have to be careful that he keeps up with the rest of the battle because he is on his own on a limb.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times before. Elian as well was that player previously when he was left out on a limb, but he came back in and did phenomenal work. But as you said, it can be vital. If Shah is adapting as well, Strake doing the same. So this may come down to a phenomenal moment where these two just clash head-to-head. Kreitz once again doing the job he's so good at, keeping eyes on the opponents, trying to find out where they're waiting, and he might also find a lot more tanks around this corner.
Yeah, we'll find Levjar and Eclipse. Eclipse playing the tier 1. He might be just be in charge of trying to take down Kreitz if he can. Kreitz does only just get spotted, actually, so Eclipse knows that. And that was just brilliant play for Na'Vi because, well, now they know what Virtus.pro are kind of going to do. Maybe look for that cap spot. Luckily, Na'Vi's on the right side of the tracks of the middle area, so they won't actually get caught out on the crossfire. So Kreitz is going to have to retreat back. Breakneck, Just Cause, Kusok, and Vorsik all just making sure he does get out of there pretty safe and sound.
2 minutes and 30 seconds. Couple of shots going through Delight. Has found Deluxe. So that was the damage tier 1 for Na'Vi, now removed off the battlefield. As it looks like Na'Vi will be playing with a little bit of a, I don't want to say handicap, but they've been kind of knocked away there. They don't have that kind of extra dimension they may or would have had before. They've still got Eclipse, and they've still got 2 minutes and 10 seconds. When is the time for a move from these two, if there's going to be one?
The time is now. The time is come, and honestly, they need to make the move, otherwise they won't have enough time. And Himmelsdorf is just that map. They have to do it on 2 minutes left on the clock. Virtus.pro obviously being the most aggressive. And last time, you got to remember, Unity broke Na'Vi's camp here, so they all know how to break it. They know exactly what Unity did. They've been watching the games. They've been studying in the downtime they've had between the other games they've been watching, and they'll know what to do. But the execution may be lacking from the side of Virtus.pro, and 1 minute and 35 seconds is leaving it a little bit too short, in my opinion. I like to say about 2 or 3 minutes is pretty much the optimal time to push.
Well, let's find out if they do decide to actually mobilize. It does seem as though they're toying with the idea of it, but they still have the safety fallback. This may come down to sheer numbers alone. Just Cause, Kusok, Breakneck, Vorsic are going down. They're looking for a way through. Are they going to find it? 1 minute and 10 seconds left. This could start. This could all kick off. 1 minute on the board. Virtus.pro not losing a player. The spots are coming out. Are they going to engage?
They're going to engage. Leopard's going to be in reply.
And here we go. Eclipse is the first there, but it's all about Levshar. The cap has begun. 55 seconds. It is Kusok taking down Eclipse. Just Cause, Vorsic off to the side. Kusok and Breakneck to the left. Just a firing squad powering down. And look at Navi's HP. Kirill is going low. 35 HP left on Kirill. One more shot. He is down. Vorsic claims it. Power slide replies towards Delight. It's back and forth. 35 seconds. 3 tanks remain. Virtus.pro are on the verge of dethroning Na'Vi. And here we go. The final push begins. Vorsic, Kusok, Breakneck, and Just Cause looking to challenge down Inspire and Strike. And they're going to do it. Power slide still standing. But can he find any reply? 2 shells, 3 shells. Breakneck takes down Inspire. 15 seconds. They have to locate 2 tanks. Power slide and Strike. This is what it comes down to.
8 seconds left. Power slide on.
Power slide has been spotted, but he needs to pick the skill up. He's done it. He could keep his team in this. If they stay alive, they will be going through to the next map. And I believe they've just about done it. It's another map on the board. Down to the wire once again.
I think you can hear the crowd's reaction there. 1 minute and 35 seconds. I don't know why Virtus.pro didn't push forwards sooner. They knew how to break They knew how to break Navi's defense then, because they've seen Unity do it before. So just do it at that 5 minutes mark when you've taken down. Well, it was like a 4 minute mark when you take it down Deluxe in the tier 1. Then you can do it, and then you have time to do it. Power slide would have got taken down pretty easy, and then it was only the IS3 trying to escape on minimal amount of HP to take care of. That's going to bring the scoreline to 4 apiece, and moving on to our next map, which will be the tiebreaker, Assault. Interesting stuff.
I don't know what to make of this. Who would put the decision of 20k, if it's in your hands, to put it onto Assault map? Would you really risk everything for this moment? I think even Virtus.pro might be considering what just happened. Did they make the right choice? Did they do this fast enough? I'm not sure. And we need to find out who has, who's done the more damage, who's done the real work here. Because this is dangerous times. Side means everything as well.
Well, it's going to be Virtus.pro. Because of their push on Ensk, did the damage, only power slide left there. Himmelsdorf, pretty similar situation, only power slide left there and 1 IS3. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious who it's going to be, and that's going to give Virtus.pro a little bit more breathing room because they can decide if they want to be attacking or defending. So far, the attacking, surprisingly, has been the better side, winning both games in the tiebreakers we played so far. But we've seen some very high, heated, action-packed maps up to this point. Yes. Now we're in the finals. I think it's completely fair enough that everything's slowed down, and it really does take an eye for detail to really see why. And you've got to just think logically, because we've seen every single team on every single map a million times before. Every single team has that kind of resources to research on. What we don't see is Assault on Sand River. So maybe, almost certainly, these two teams will have some incredible, ridiculous lineup, some incredible, ridiculous tactic that no one's seen before and no one can expect.
It's time to wait and see. You can see Virtus.pro discussing their options there. They're talking things through because this is a bit of a deciding moment. Who will win this? It's coming down to that Assault map, as you said. And these guys, Bishop, just weighing up the options there in his head. He looks very focused, as does the rest. And you can tell why. These guys have a lot of pressure on their shoulders now. They could have gone for that slightly more aggressive start. They could have pushed a little earlier, tried to challenge Na'Vi, as you mentioned, but they didn't, and now we are going to see Na'Vi once again discussing things as well. So I can imagine this may take a second for them to work it out. This is a long, this is going to feel the longest moments of their life in these couple of seconds and a couple of choices. So Virtus.pro will be picking side on Sand River. Na'Vi will just have to be at the receiving end. But let's bear in mind, we've seen a lot of turnarounds and upsets due to this map, and a lot of the choices that people made may have backfired. Why don't you take us through that?
Yeah, it's a hard one to call. From the defending side, we thought it would be the stronger side. Obviously, it didn't turn out the way the attacking side to be stronger, but that's just down to the teams coming up with good tactics and not really anything to do with what happens in random battles and the like. So I would be the attacking side if I was Virtus.pro, but obviously you need a lot of discussion to go through that. You need to think of all the theory crafting, maybe have a look how the other team has been playing up till this point. Virtus.pro have been making all the moves, you have to remember that, and that's why we're rewarding them with the rule set so they can choose the sides. Na'Vi, quite happy to sit back. They've done this in every single finals we've ever seen them to do because they don't want to be risking anything. Obviously, Na'Vi's not the winner, but we'll be seeing the nice faces of Clutch and the like on the analysis desk. So you guys break down the 4 maps we have seen.
You got it, gentlemen. Thank you very much, and Lady Pansy. Laughter, the analysis so far of the breakdown pretty much comes down to who broke through the Na'Vi defense that we saw on Himmelsdorf. And gentlemen, we saw Unity do it the first time. Virtus.pro and the scientific method did it again, but they did it even better, proving that it can be broken. Went to the draw, though, but let's break down how that happened and how they were able to break through that defense.
They use the blind spots on the map, using the center part. They know exactly how is Na'Vi positioned. They've seen them do it 100 times. Now they saw it on stream. And they saw the weak point, which Unity abused, but not so well. They entered, and they entered late. And we can only speculate that they actually entered knowing that probably one of the Na'Vi guys might run away, but to do more damage so they can actually pick a side now on Sand River and play the tactics they are prepared specially for this.
I have to say for Na'Vi that they did, again, awesome job. They knew there would be 150-100 in the tracks. They focus fire team down first, so they again have the...
They kept their door...
Yeah, they
kept
again
their
have
foot
the
in
door
the door
open
so they can leave.
to play the draw.
And we were looking at the T1 placement, which I was trying to focus on, and I was pointing to that one T1 on the hill, and I go,
Virtus.pro,
he's not moving.
That
He's
was
not
Virtus.pro foot in the door.
Yeah, exactly, with their foot in the back. And also, after the runaway, the point is he couldn't attack before because D-Light hit the reload button too late. He was reloaded just 3 seconds after they start the engage. So if they engaged earlier, they had 1 gun out of the battle. So they had to wait to the critical moment. I don't know if it was a mistake from him to hit the reload button that late, or he said, okay, we only need 1 minute and 15 seconds.
I think that they really had nothing to lose. They were already down on damage, so Na'Vi had a pick. All they could do is, because Na'Vi was cornered, either they will kill them all or they will die, but the tier 1 will still survive because it will be too late. If they attacked earlier, Na'Vi would be able to theoretically find that guy and finish the game in their favor and take the title.
Laughter and Pansy were commenting on when's the right time to start an engagement when you go for those last seconds. And it's a very tough call to make because you want to have the option for the draw, because if you fail, game over. You are now in second place and the tournament is over. I felt that when they started, the exact timing was a little bit too late. I'm going to throw a guess out there right now that needs to be studied throughout the next couple of seasons that we have in different regions at about the 2-minute and 15-second mark for a lot of these matches, especially on Himmelsdorf, where the only way to run is really pretty much north to south or south to north.
Well, Russian League plays under these rules quite longer than anyone else. And their usual mark for attack is about 2 minutes. That's something like a safe bet, so someone can survive and they can press.
In North America, it's about the same too. It's around the 2-minute mark. But a lot of times, especially when the 8-point rule was removed after Season 1, those T1s are able to escape. And we saw...
Sure. We saw more than once.
More than once at this tournament that they were less than 50 meters away to spot that one T1 to get the kill and to get the victory. And sometimes leading to a draw and then the victor for the other team.
It is something they accept in advance. Yeah. It's lesser risk, and then they pick a fighting ground. If they picked a fighting ground on Sand River, they did this as a target of opportunity.
Yes. And they may feel they have the advantage on Sand River because of this. And it's a smart play to make. You can't play map by map all the time. You have to play for the whole tournament.
But this is great because everything done in the past 3 seasons goes to one map.
Yeah.
One map and it's done. There cannot be any draw now.
No draws. We're not going to have 6 hours of broadcast watching draws. No, we have to have a victor, and the victor will be decided on Sand River. Marius, we have seen this a couple times so far in the tournament. Let's break down what this map is. What is Assault Mode? How is it different compared to what we've seen in the 7x42 dual cap points?
Yeah, we saw it already 2 times. I just wanted to point it out. And the big difference is that there's one base to cap, and there's one attacker and one defender. The defender only have to defend. So if they don't kill the attacker, they still have one because they saved the base, basically. And the attacker, do or die. no chance to do
die.
something else.
It's do or die. Now, when we did see this earlier, and I'm going to mention Simp because it's actually one of the biggest, I think, events that had happened, the biggest turnovers, the biggest upsets.
They were the first to break it through.
The first to break through against Lemming Train. And Lemming Train, I believe, had the choice, and Lemming Train chose defense. Simp chose attack.
It seemed so logical.
It does, right? And 99% of the production staff and everyone else behind the scenes, the players would say, hey, defense is the better choice because you sit back, you camp, and your enemy has to come to you. Simp proved that wrong.
Exactly. And it's really a close battle. I mean, it was really close Simp against Lemming Train, but also Wusa, I think, against Synergy. Also, 2 seconds left on the clock, and then the J-Panther missed the shell in the camping tanks.
I actually
also
spoke to the guys. He said he had no
clear vision.
Clear vision, and T-32 actually was in a hill behind. He missed the shell.
Yeah. And that,
okay.
Well, the placement of the Pershing was, if you look at the tactical properties and the strengths of being in that position, was fine. If there's not a sand dune that the other tanks can climb, and that's what they did not factor in. And I feel that the height, the up and down ratios that allow tanks to move from that cover and go behind different tanks completely changed the game of the defensive strategy of these teams.
In both games, spotting was critical, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and even Blue Boy's captain said that the attacker needs to take control over the middle first so that they get eyes towards the map and they can spot if the defender is spread out or are they group up. Because
then they can pinpoint where to attack.
Yeah, because the crucial point for defending is the southeast corner. From there, you can be grouped up, but if you're not there, you need to spread out.
And the avenue of approach is so much smaller on the southeast corner compared to the southwest corner, which is way more open, and that was where Simp decided to go. I have been informed that Virtus.pro, which did have the most damage throughout the tournament or throughout the series, gets to choose, and they have chosen the side of the attacker in this map. So.
One thing is also, we should not forget, the cap is not 1 minute 30 if you're wanting in. I think it's around 3 minutes, so you need longer time to cap, so it takes more time. And in case of the blind pick, basically as defender, you know the attacker have to go for an aggressive lineup because they have to attack, so they will pick light and medium tanks. So basically as defender you can go for heavy tanks to counter this. But also the attacker, I was talking with Eclipse about it, they're deciding maybe to pick an artillery to counter the heavy tanks.
So we could see...
It's a totally mind game.
We could see artillery for the first and only time probably in this tournament. And we have not seen artillery used. It is a very powerful element of the game as we see in any type of pub games in World of Tanks, people that play World of Tanks casually. It was used at the beginning of esports, but it has been changed due to accuracy and patches and et cetera, but that's a whole other discussion.
I wouldn't know who would play artillery in Virtus.pro. I mean Eclipse, he's an ace, we know all that, but I actually can't remember who played it for Virtus.
But which artillery would you bring? The M4043, is that the strongest choice?
I think so, yeah, actually, yes.
Well, hashtag Team America, 4043. And we have seen that in the shootout rules in North America, the M4043 being used. What about tank destroyers? Could this be
for the defender?
Yes.
We saw it from Wusa. They had GP2. And it took the first shot of the game and dropped down, was Blue Boy's captain to almost half health.
In one shot?
No. I think he actually did two
It was
shots
Applewell.
on 39.
Applewell was the one that got shot.
Oh, yeah.
On two shots, and the guy was dropped on 300 health from 1100.
Yeah, it was Commandante playing.
And they actually won the game. GG.
Yeah, that's how it works with those tank destroyers. But if they can get flanked, they're going to get flanked hard, especially with teams that choose the 1390s or the T69s that can move very, very quickly. T32s, yes, we can definitely see, but then you come into kind of the slower progression. If a T32 is bunkered down in the fantastic spot down in the southeast corner, it looks like it's a complete southwest push. He has to move so far, so fast to help defend, and by that time, maybe too late.
T32 is a bad choice if you have to spread the tanks. God forbid, if you have to counterattack, you must leave him alone behind.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough choice. We're waiting for final confirmation for these teams to be ready to go for the final map of the entire tournament. As a reminder, $60,000 goes to the number one team. The number two team's taking home $40,000. Red Rush Unity is our third place team. They're taking home $20,000. And PvP Super Friends from Southeast Asia placed fourth. Batman is the MVP. We saw them walk by a little bit. We cheered on Batman, of course, because that was one of the major stories we've had all weekend long. Melly, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people over the internet explode, hashtag I'm Batman, Batman the entire time.
You might see some Gangnam Batman dance soon.
Well, it was the same for Carmen, too, as well. He was one of the superstars that we saw throughout the weekend for Lemming Train.
Yeah.
All these teams that have performed here can go home heroes. And that's very, very important because each of these teams are pioneers in the world of esports, in the world of Tanks esports communities. And a lot of new teams are forming the different regions. A lot of new teams are participating in the bronze, silver, and now the gold leagues, where real money is at stake for these different regions. And I'm really excited to say that we're just getting started for this being the first world tournament. Predictions overall, gentlemen, Navi versus Virtus.pro. I felt a lot of people guessed this would be the finals. But did we imagine it would go to Sand River?
I didn't think so. I thought they would be getting the job done in the normal map spot. Well, here we are.
Well, I guess we all guessed that we wouldn't see steps at all.
Yeah.
I think Magus was right. He said the first map will decide. The ones Navi secured that victory, this was a very probable choice.
Yeah. Very probable choice indeed.
Yeah,
Attackers, though, for Virtus.pro. Is this the right choice for them?
I think so, yeah, because you got the map control, you can make the players defender, you have to stay and defend, you can't go around, you can do it, but then there's a cap open, you can surround. I think it's better to decide by your own. If they pick defender, they have to wait what Navi is doing. Now they can do what they want to do, break through.
Well, this is it.
And Navi can be attacker.
They can
Although
choose.
they are
They can choose not to hold back, but we're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the final map, for the final match to determine who is the best of the best in World of Tanks. Commentators, take it away.
Thank you so much, guys, and what a phenomenal moment to come back to. We are now moments away from the deciding map to tell us who will be the first champion here. On Sand River, it's going to be curious, and I think we still need to point out, Virtus.pro got to decide which side they want to be on. Now, they went for the attacking side. They're not known as the most attacking-based team. What does this mean?
It means that they're going to be having some sort of tactic. They obviously chose a side for a reason. What can they bring to the table for these two teams? It's going to be a very close match. They have to have those tactics down. They have to make sure they nail it because this is the deciding map. Whoever wins this one walks away with that $60,000, walks away with the monolith, and walks away with those fantastic watches we've seen beforehand. In terms of the kind of lineups we're looking at, you can see the 4 AMX 3090s, 5 AMX 3090s, excuse me, double T1 for the side of Navi. For Virtus.pro, they got the 4 AMX 3090s, they got the Pershing, and they got the double T1.
Well, it is game time, ladies and gents. We are into the final battle between Virtus.pro and Navi. On the attacking side, it will be Virtus.pro in red. In the defenders, it will be Navi in blue. And what is the initial setup we're seeing here?
It's a gamble. It's a real gamble. Remember that the defending on Assault is the winning team. If that counter does tick down to 0, the 10 minutes you have, the 10 minutes allocated time you have to win this battle before you lose on the attacking side. So already Navi's in the driving seat, but Virtus.pro's gambling. They're saying, okay, we like this side, we want to play this side, we got a tactic for this side, and we think it's better than just winning on the 10 minutes defending. Delight does receive the first shell, though. He's down to 878.
Yeah, that might have been from Livshar there, actually. I think I'm not 100% sure, but that certainly connected and did some damage. So Delight now has to be a little bit more careful. Obviously, Virtus.pro attacking, going in with any sort of disadvantage will start hurting them. And Navi probably cracked a little bit of a grin when they found they might be on the defensive side, even against maybe the results we've seen to this point. So Navi now have to hunker down and play the smart game here. 8 minutes and 45 seconds is the maximum time we'll have until we know who'll be walking away with that $60K.
$60,000 on the line, as you do say. That's Virtus.pro at the bottom of your screens. The amount of attention on these guys' faces is just incredible. This is pretty much the biggest moment of their lives, I imagine, and it means a hell of a lot for them to take this win. Virtus.pro not in the driving seat because of the rules I did explain earlier. And Navi, they are quite happy to sit back and wait for Virtus.pro to collapse on. They got those 2 T1s, they can just run away and wait for them to go. And it is going to be down to those tier 1s played by Dulux and Eclipse as per usual. And what's interesting, I guess, is the AMX 3090s aren't the usual picks of the likes of Kirilide and Livshar. Powerside doesn't always pick it, so are those players 100% comfortable? Of course, they're going to be a little bit comfortable, perhaps very comfortable, but 100% compared to your normal AMX 3090 drivers, I just don't think so. Kusok is a pretty familiar Pershing driver. He likes to play those heavier tanks with the more HP, so he is certainly going to be comfortable in that tank. So just in that respect, Virtus.pro perhaps with a little lead. Kirilide now on the rotate. It's going to be joining the AMX 3090s, Powerslide and Inspirer, perhaps for a push, but from the defending side, it is rather hard.
Yeah, Virtus.pro getting a bit of a three-man stack down towards that east side. Kusok, Vorsik, and the others just waiting for their moment. You can see Karitz is pretty far up as well, but Na'Vi, you know, they're in a good spot here, but they are on the move. There's a big chunk of them down by the south of the map, just adapting across, trying to find the best routes possible to keep their eyes on. And, well, as you said, the defensive side, they have, you know, the clock is on their side. They let that run down. They let it play smart. And Karitz can just keep dodging those shells.
Karitz is doing a fantastic job. He's in the perfect location. There's actually blind shots. Karitz isn't actually spotted. He's got those bushes in front, and the tier 1 has got pretty good camo value as well, so he doesn't have to worry too much as long as he just doesn't stay in the same place for a very long amount of time. But the rotate is coming up. We've got Breakneck, Just Cause, and Vorsik in those AMX 3090s alongside Kusok in the T26 M26 Pershing. They're going to be rotating around, maybe going to catch out Levshar and a couple of Strake and inspiring those AMX 3090s. They're using the autoloaders, which is going to be a big problem when it comes down to those long engagements when they have to reload. You can see Strake is sporting the binocular telescope. Pretty obvious standard pick because you want that 25% view range boost. I imagine the whole of Virtus.pro is doing the same, but first moves are going to come out those tier 1s. Karitz is going forwards.
Yeah, Clip's already down as well. So a bit of an interesting start now. Virtus.pro, they're gaining ground actually. They really are just edging further and further forward. Strike is laying in wait though. This one-man band will have to hold back an entire team if they push around here. He obviously does have support not too far away. But still, yeah, you don't like being alone. And we do have Karitz edging towards the circle. As Magus kindly told us, it does take a little bit longer to get this one capped. But he's not going for it just yet. He's taking this time, and it's the right thing to do. But I want to talk to you about Na'Vi right now because they're being very fluid about this. They're not being static. They're not sitting still. You know, when do they over-rotate here? Because we are seeing a lot of movement coming out from Virtus.pro.
They're perfectly reacting to the situation because they're just running away from Virtus.pro. They know they're going to come from the south and they can rotate around and get that higher ground. But you can see Virtus.pro going in the cap. They got one tank there. 1 minute and 33 seconds left on that. Pretty much the standard cap tank for 2 tanks. Powerslide has got the upper ground. He's going to be joined shortly by his compatriots. Kiriloid in the AMX 3090, Inspirer, and of course Levshar taking up the rear. Delight he's going to have to try and fend off for as long as he can, but the cap is the key.
The cap is the key. Keep your eye on that time because right now it's pretty damn quick. 35 seconds. Delight just edging off the cliff. That may not be the best move in the world right now, but 20 seconds left. Here comes the rest of Virtus.pro. They are moving in for this one. There's going to be one big battle to find this out. Just Cause has found Strike. Just Cause moving in. Clock does just get reset. 120 on the board. Strike gets away with a good chunk of health taken away there. Powerslide now receiving a bit of damage as well, but the battle has not yet fully commenced.
Strike actually got quite lucky there. Vorsik and Just Cause aren't doing a particularly good job of doing the damage, but they were drive-by shooting and it was very, very hard to do those hip shots. You can see Virtus.pro having to back off a little bit. Na'Vi are going forwards. Breakneck and Delight can have to try and fend them off. They have the lower ground, but MX 3090 doesn't have the gun depression.
Yeah, and Strike just went down, then Just Cause and Vorsik both pushed in, pincered him and removed a vital player away from Na'Vi. And I also want to point out, Virtus.pro have lost both of their tier 1s, so maybe that cap pressure now is not such a vital option here.
Yeah, it's a very hard thing to do if they do try and go for the cap. Vorsik in trouble.
Yeah, Powerslide, shell after shell is coming through, and another comes in. Na'Vi, they're moments away now. They brought it back to a big chance here. Deluxe, Powerslide, Levshar, Kirill, and Inspire on the literally moments away. If they can get a couple more kills, a bit more damage, keep those shells connecting. But maybe Virtus.pro still has a trick up their sleeve.
Inspire is doing a great job of fending off Breakneck. And what can Virtus.pro do now? I think they expected that first move to go a lot more successfully than it did. Delight's going to have to try and get himself out of that ditch, not metaphorically, literally. And Breakneck, he's got the higher ground, so he's going to have to make sure he gets the shots off and keeps the pressure on the side of Na'Vi. Powerslide running away. He's the guy in charge of perhaps going for the draw. Remember, defending on assault means you take the win. 3 minutes and 7 seconds.
You can see it on their faces right there. They are shouting these commands to each other, telling each other, keep this on lock. And that is worry on Virtus.pro's face. These shells need to keep landing here. Levshar really hammering it down. Kusok receives a big bit of damage, down to 4-7-9. Virtus.pro are in trouble. They have 2 minutes and 47 seconds to turn this one around. And at the moment, I'm not sure if they can do it.
It's a very, very good question. In such a little amount of time, so much to do. They have to try and rotate around. They've also got the lower ground, and they have to go on the offensive.
Yeah, here we go. This might be the final push. It is Kusok who's down. We've got 3 players now standing for Virtus.pro. They are all within that cap circle. Whether or not they stay is a different matter. But 42 seconds. The clock is ticking. And now we'll see Na'Vi come back in. They need to find these shots. They need to stop that cap. And here comes the push. Inspire on the side. Deluxe, Power Slide, and Levshar all standing. Kirill does receive some damage. But look at this. They're pincered in. Breakneck receives another shell. He's in trouble. He's going low. 1-3-8. Na'Vi are getting so close here. They're 2 tanks away from the victory. Just Cause and Delight. They must stay alive. They must turn this around. Inspired, challenged by Delight. Just Cause to Power Slide. The struggle begins. Each shell as vital as the next. Inspire! He takes him down. Kirill is most away. Na'Vi have done it. They've reclaimed the crown. They've shown exactly why they are at the top of this scene. And what a way to do it.
Indeed, 60k going to the side of Natus, Vincere. Alongside that watch, alongside the monolith, the Giants have not been dethroned. It was David versus Goliath, and Goliath came away with the trophy, and it deservedly so. They chose the right side, they chose it against the odds, and they won it.
And I think we need to really hear it from them themselves. Let's head down to that stage with Mitch and the team. Give it up for Na'Vi.
Incredible. Fantastic play. Went all the way to Sand River, but they took it out in those last moments, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I present to you the 2014 World Champions, Na'Vi! So solid from start to finish. They dropped the ball the first time around against Virtus.pro, but not the second time. They managed to bring it through. The Titans stand strong, ladies and gentlemen. Na'Vi are your 2014 World Champions. And of course, along with the title of World Champions, Na'Vi are taking away a massive amount of prize money. And of course, the fabled Monolith Trophy, 27 kilos of solid steel, a testament to their ability as the World of Tanks team, climbing all the way to the top, and they stand tall. I'm here with Victor Keesley, CEO of Wargaming, to share a few words with you all.
These were amazing 3 days. We have seen everything. We have seen action. We have seen some camping. We have seen emotions. We have seen passion. We have seen comebacks, legendary comebacks. For the first time in my life, I have seen a real Batman. I want to shake some legendary hands now. I want to thank these guys and the other 40,000 teams which started this tournament 1 year ago.
And along with everything else, Na'Vi being presented with very, very special Wargaming edition engraved Hugo Boss watches. Man, they look sexy. They're going to go pretty well with that trophy as well, hanging up on their wall. They're so ecstatic right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I really, really, really can't blame them. It's been a huge journey for everyone that came here. Yeah, I mean, the amount of miles traveled put together would be ridiculous. But finally, we stand here with our inaugural World of Tanks World Champions. What a beautiful display, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. I'm afraid I am very sad to announce that we're about to close things up here. Warsaw, you have been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on down and having a great time with us. You've been a fantastic crowd. We have seen everything this weekend, from lemmings to bats. We've seen Titans rise. We've also seen them fall, and the dark horses as well. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go. Thank you so very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world, this is esports, and we aren't going anywhere. We're going to be handing over to our analyst desk now to finish it off. But from here, inside the cinema, good night, Warsaw, and thank you.
Teams from around the world have dreamed of such a moment. And now for Navi, it is a reality. The best team in the world when it comes to World of Tanks esports, $60,000 richer, a giant trophy I have no idea how they're going to be able to take home, and the pride and the victory for their region and for their home country of Russia and the Ukraine. Congratulations to Navi once more. Gentlemen, Sand River was the map. It was poetic to see from Himmelsdorf on ice to Sand River
On fire.
from the sand, from the snow to the sand. But now we have crowned a champion. Hashtag like a boss as well for Navi. Going down the row, Mr. Mojo, closing thoughts.
Brilliant tournament. Best I ever seen or been on.
And we look forward to watching your team, the Kazakh crew, continue to compete in World of Tanks.
Definitely hoping so. This is worth it. Like esports future in World of Tanks looks solid.
Wilkie?
Well, Navi deserved to be the champion. They came from the behind and take the trophy. That 5-13-90 setup was brilliant for the defense.
It really was brilliant. It really was brilliant to see the best defense was a fantastic offense.
Yeah, if you attack enough, you don't need to defend that much.
That's right. Back, it's been a pleasure to have you here all weekend long. Where can we see you more in the next season?
Hopefully also on the next finals in the Pro League. I mean, my team's also participating. I think we will face Kasa a few times and maybe see them on the next offline event again on the computer and not on the desk.
All right.
More beer.
We'll look forward to that. Yeah. Melly, closing thoughts?
So many broken records, so many emotions, so many amazing games, and it was a true honor to be here with you guys. With you guys here in the lobby, in the cinema itself, and it was just overwhelming, and thank you so much.
We do have the Daily Blitz prize winner to announce, and that is Virtus.pro. They will get a $4,000 at least little bump to their second place. Pocket money, yeah, of course. There's a lot of gold you can buy, too, within the game. But Virtus.pro was able to win in 2 minutes and 1 second, and the prize $16,750.
Wow.
That's a nice addition to the $40,000 they just secured for second place.
Some of it sponsored by Navi.
Yeah?
It's true, all the draws.
Well, big thank you to Navi for that. Well, gentlemen, we've seen the evolution of World of Tanks now hit another benchmark. Navi is still the #1 team, but we've seen surprises. We've seen a couple setbacks, but we have seen the best duke it out from each region. And we've seen an MVP, and that went to Alvin Batman Nunez Urbitstando, representing the PvP Superstars. Congratulations to them as well. 4th place finish. Going down, who won what? Navi, $60,000. First place, Virtus.pro. Second place, $40,000. Red Rush Unity, $20,000. And the 4th place team being the PvP Superstars. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring you the World of Tanks first ever Grand Global Finals for the Wargaming.net League. On behalf of everyone here at the desk, on behalf of everyone from Poland and everyone that is a member of Turtle Entertainment, we thank you for tuning in. A huge thank you to our sponsors, Alienware, PayPal, Razer, the City of Warsaw, and Jinx. We'll see you next time. Good night and good game.